Make it a clean sweep. I got Dallas 11-6.
He kept the, I know they would say, oh, well, he kept the tag applied. He could have kept the tag applied and not straddled homeboy. You know what I mean? He could have moved his leg. So.
Oh, it was fine. It's just.
I'm just saying.
Ramirez
just
had a little.
It wasn't necessary.
Nothing wrong.
It didn't need to get to that extreme. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing wrong.
Bills in a last-second field goal or a last-second touchdown by Aaron Rodgers to take the division.
He's kicking field goals too. I want to bet.
Right?
I want.
Happy Monday night, folks. It is your boy, Mr. First Down. I am the Pumpkin Spice Latte of podcast host. I am happy to be here, happy to be on the Let's Talk Sports Network. We're going to have a good show tonight. Of course, we've got Jim Biringer coming on. He's going to drop so many Biringer bombs that Lord knows if we'll ever see the light of day again. Then we have Jonathan Grisham. And since we will not be joined by Nick tonight, he won't get yelled at sporadically the entire time. I swear to God, if Nick was actually face-to-face with that guy, he'd be covered in spit the entire time. Just, they stink. Anyway, but enough about Nick. It's my show now, and since I'm driving the bus, I get to bring in my guy. He is a Hall of Famer. He is up in the Massachusetts area, and most of all, he enjoys my Reagan impression. He is the one, the only Scott Cobe, everybody. Hey, Scott, how we doing, bubby?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Sam? I'm not used to going first. I mean,
no,
and
you're
I'm
a
used
Hall
to
of Famer. You're always first.
I know that, but I'm used to the 40-second outro on Botkin's computer when he doesn't talk.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Well, when they evacuate ships, it's the women, children, and elderly. So you're up there. I don't know if that's like first, second, or first or third, fourth. I can't count. I have a newborn. Okay, my brain doesn't work anymore. Anyway. So it's good to have you, Scott. Scott, did you look over that video I sent in our chat because we're best friends and I can text you when we talked about Harrison's comments on Zach Wilson?
I did see it. I watched it this morning, and he might get suspended by NBC for those comments. I doubt it. Put it back.
I hate doing it. Yeah, no, I hear you. I hate doing it to say it because, Tanner's going to be like, oh, of course it is. Chris Jones really took that question in stride. Really didn't show his ass there. He really could have. No. But, yeah, so I straddle this. We ran into this before with Sean Payton, where we get so much bull crap from the coaches and GMs. And Sean Payton comes out and goes, Nathaniel Hackett's a terrible coach. He's ruined everything, blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of it's a weird place to be. I wish he hadn't said it, but it's nice to have some honesty every once in a while. It's just, Yeah,
it is. And if you remember Rod Harrison as a player, because he played up here in New England at the end of his career, he didn't hold back. He said what was on his mind. And now, for the first, how long has it been on NBC? Like 6 years, 7 years, maybe something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. God, it feels longer, doesn't it?
He really hasn't had any controversial moments, so to speak, because Tony Dungy's been there. And when Tony Dungy was there, I think he just basically reeled him in and said, hey, Rodney, don't say anything. But now that they've changed the setup with NBC, I think he's basically said, I'm going to let my mouth go.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, totally. Alan already trying to get on my good side today after he made fun of my little team there about what they should and should not do. It's okay, Alan. I appreciate it. I hope it is a great show. And Cody and Jay versus Priest and Balor. It's a tag titles on Fastlane. How about that? Okay. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'm looking more. I'm looking more forward to the other tag team that's going to happen that night.
Are you talking about John Cena and, of course, the megastar himself, L.A. Knight? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry. That guy makes me feel like a kid again. It is exactly how he makes me feel when he's out there. It's fantastic. You know who else makes me feel like a kid again because he talks down to me? Is our lovely producer, Tanner. Tanner, how are you, sir? How you doing?
What's up, everybody? We're at it.
I love how he didn't argue it. He's just like, yeah, that's probably true.
I'm not gonna argue tonight. Well, maybe later. We'll see when I get comfortable, right?
Sam,
Dig in.
before you came on, me and Tanner were talking. He's done with Mahomes as his quarterback. He says he
I'm
wants
done.
him out.
I'm finished.
Is it over?
Train his ass.
Is it
It's over. It's
It's
over.
over. It's over.
You slide at the 2-yard line when it doesn't matter if you go by 10 or not, and hit all those covers. Like that's all you got to do. Let's go in the end zone. Instead, we're gonna make the smart play, and we're gonna go side of the 2. You know what? I'm you're in New York. Go score. Go put some points on the board.
T Swift was distracting him. T Swift was up.
No, yeah, because he's worried about his wife over here making bad with T Swift.
Oh man, what was our other soundbite from you, Tanner? Oh yeah, are you going to be different? Are you going to be different?
Well, Mahomes wasn't different at all.
No, he wasn't different. He wasn't different. That was a great form. I expected, of course, to bounce back and all of that, but like, I don't know. It just seems it hasn't come very easy for him this year. Do you think is this year different as a Chiefs fan, or do you think it's just part of the process?
It's part of the process. Last year wasn't easy either.
Yeah, they couldn't cover a lot of things last year. It was weird.
And so you're going to the same situation where you got receivers that aren't able to get separation as much as some people thought. Right? We got good receivers. Don't get me wrong. Sure. I think we got good receivers. But can you get the separation that a Tyreek gave you, a couple years ago? You don't get that because we don't have the speed. A Miko could give it to you, but he was always hurt.
Right.
Issues in that range, right? And unfortunately, you're the one guy that seems to be getting open is MVS. It's a guy you don't want to get open because
what channel does MVS come on? No, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. It was there. It was there. It was hanging. It was hanging down. It was low hanging fruit. I had to anyway.
And the other thing you got to remember, Kansas City's when, as Tanner said, when Tyreek was there, you throw a 6 or 7 yard crossing and he'd take it 45 yards, and you don't have that right now, so to speak. You could have it in Tony or Sky Moore, but you just don't have it right now. And that so he's going to play differently. He's got to play. Travis Kelce's my number one target, and let's see who else steps up tonight. Is it going to be Justin Ross? Is it going to be Rashee Rice? Is it going to be Kadarius Tony Skymore? Who is it going to be? And that's the so you're playing basically darts. All right, I'm going to throw a dot, and hopefully this guy will catch the ball and go 65 yards. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, nobody is. I was shocked by that game tonight. Not as shocked as I was Sunday sitting in Nissan Stadium watching my team just drum the Bengals out of there. I was stunned. I won't lie to you. I was literally sitting there just kind of watching it. Tannehill dominant. Tannehill calm. Tannehill, Jack and Jill went up the hill. Tannehill went up the hill, fetch a pail of water. But he, it was good to see. It was good to see. It felt like 2020, 2019 Tannehill. He's just kind of making his way, picking his way through. And Derrick Henry got his yards, and that's great. But they passed a lot on that team, and that was just very shocking. I don't think anyone was ready for it, especially the Titans fans. And I'll tell you who else wasn't ready for it: the Cincinnati fans that were booing their own team at the stadium. They were mad. Oh.
Well, we said it in the offseason. Jesse Bates is now gone. They lost some secondary pieces. So this secondary is not as good as it's been in the past 2 or 3 years. They had Jesse Bates back there to kind of stabilize it. Now he's gone. There's really no stabilizing factor back there. So Cincinnati's weakness on defense definitely is their secondary. And if Tannehill can take advantage, which he did to a degree Sunday, the teams are going to beat them. And now Chase is not happy with Burrow. There's a little, as we said last night on the Barkett show, there's going to be a little infighting going on in this locker room. And sure enough, Chase is, telling Burrow he needs to sit down.
They should have.
And Tanner
they should have started the year that way. They should have started the year.
Yeah.
Have him sit down. That guy should not have been playing in 4 weeks. Last versus the Titans game should have at least been his first game out since the injury.
Right.
Instead, you're allowing the player to hurt himself, essentially. Now he's hurting the team. And that's the issue for the Bengals right now. Yeah. It's not the defense. I promise you that defense is pretty average, but it's good, but you got to keep it off.
You got a good pass rush.
You got a good pass rush. Yeah. Your corners will figure it out. Like you got a good defense. Yeah. But when you're in and out of the offense, you can't extend drives. You can't make the plays on. You can't even score. Has Burrow even scored a touch? He hasn't even thrown a touchdown this year yet, and we're through 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
That's the panic button.
Yeah.
I don't think he has. But he might have thrown one to T. Higgins in week 2, but that'd be it. That'd be it.
Yeah,
right.
We're talking about an abysmal start. We've seen abysmal starts from the Bengals, but this is different because Burrow has an injury that's lingering into the season versus not playing at all. Bengals are hurting themselves. Zach Taylor needs to step up, grow some cojones, and tell a superstar paid quarterback, sit your ass down for 2 weeks. Let's get through the bye and let's try again.
Look at him. Look at him. Tell him, Tanner. Tell him, Tanner.
He's
not different.
It's going to cost him his job. Why would it cost you your job if you made the Super Bowl, you've beaten the Chiefs 3 times, or whatever, you've been to the AFC Championship game twice? Where's the fire at? That's what I'm trying to figure out for him.
Well, they did more film study. They did. Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. Go ahead.
And in the 4th year, your stud quarterback is on the IR for 4 to 6 weeks. So you're not going to lose your job because of it. You've had high success in the last 3 or 4 years. As we said, after week 3, that was a perfect time. Put Burrow on the IR, go right until the bye week. After the bye week comes, you take him off if he's healthy enough, ready to go. And then you're all set with him, and then you can make a run. Maybe go 6-1, 7-1 down the stretch, get a wild card, get the playoffs, and then nobody wants to play you in the playoffs. Nobody. So that's the whole thing. So Tanner had it right from jump. Is put him on the IR after week 3, get him to the bye week, maybe go 1-3, 2-2, get to 3-4, whatever, and then come back. And you're ready to go to make a run. Maybe
Even
you
if
won't
you're
win
0-4, right? Walking into week 5. Even if you're 0-4 walking in week 5, season's not lost. No. 2 division losses, whatever, doesn't matter. Your guy's healthy. That still gives you 11 games to come out and go at it. Instead, now you're you got to do something. It has to happen. By the way, I don't know if you saw that line. Orlando Brown Jr. is basically could tap Joe Burrow each time he was blocking. It's just like what we had in the Chiefs with him. He's not good. He's not good at left tackle.
No, he's not. He's not.
And I think that's why the Bengals were in desperation mode trying to clean up the line. That's why they offered him money, a more or a better deal when it really wasn't. But whatever, we're not missing anything with that. But he's causing Burrow to have kids he can't move. He's stuck. So having a guy like Orlando Brown Jr. blocking for you is not the kind of guy you want blocking for you at the moment. That's right. If you can't move around like Joe Burrow can.
Correct. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. He's almost going to say, Burrow's almost going to say, as soon as I get the ball in my hands, it's gone. It's got to be gone. And you can't do that as a quarterback. If you can't defend yourself in the pocket, you need to sit down. You just need to go to the bench or go to the head coach and say, hey, coach, I can't do it. I can't.
We might be seeing what Peyton Manning had to do his final year in year 3 or 4 for Burrow. It's ridiculous. This should never be a discussion come week 5 of Joe Burrow throwing 1, 2, whatever touchdown passes, and the Bengals are 0-4 or 1-4 or 1-3. It's the dumbest thing right now.
And the other thing you're sacrificing to Sam to you, Tanner, is you're sacrificing doing something to your Achilles, and not only being out for the rest of this season, but halfway through next year. So not only do you lose this season, you lose half the most of next season. So you just got
no T. Higgins. You got contract situations hanging out there right now that's going to cost your team in the future. This is a win now mode right now for this Bengals team, right? They can't afford it. They're not paying T. Higgins. T. Higgins is walking next year. We already know this after the season, right?
Come on home, boy. Right. He's a Tennessean. Come on home, man.
Jamar Chase, he's already, up there as well, demanding that, wants to keep that bag, demanding the bag. You're losing out on your weapons. Tyler Boyd's next. Like you're in trouble if you're a Bengals fan right now and you're watching your team in a hurt Burrow go 1-3 in 4 weeks with a hurt Burrow. It's not good.
Exactly.
It's not good.
Did you see?
I sent you a picture in the message too, and you can see the Titans did not respect his run at all. They didn't cover the A gap. It was ridiculous, and of course they still tried to throw it. It was crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that they're keeping him out there.
if you're Vrabel and you're watching Cincinnati Bengals tape, the first thing that definitely sticks out to you is Burrow's not moving on offense. He's getting the ball, and he's in shotgun every snap. He can't even take the ball into center and go back.
No.
So he's in shotgun every snap. So your choices are limited. You're going to give it to Joe Mixon in shotgun? Yes. They're not even giving it to him more than 15 times. So to me, it comes down to your 65 to 75% quarterback is trying to shoulder the burden, and he can't do it. So the Bengals aren't going to win another game until they figure out, hey, we need to either A, sit Joe Burrow, or B, we need to run Joe Mixon 20 to 25 times every game. And until Zach Taylor does that,
who's the backup?
It's
Jake Browning,
nobody.
I think.
Yeah, Jake Browning, a nobody.
Okay.
Jake Browning, yeah.
They're about as well prepared as the New York Jets. So
Okay. Yikes. That's rough.
But you just gave your franchise quarterback $250 million.
Yeah.
And you're sacrificing the first year and a half of that contract because you're too stubborn because you want to win games as a head coach. Because as Tanner said, you think your job is in jeopardy right now, which it's not, because he's had high level of success the last 3 years. So
Zach Taylor also not the Ohio State coach, which I kept saying last night was the head coach. Ryan Day. I get screw you, Ryan Day. This little guy just keeps me all kinds of tired. Anyway, so you know what I don't get wrong though. There's a guy. He drops bombs. Okay, he drops big old bombs in here. His name is of course Jim freaking Biringer. Yeah, come on in, big fella.
yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
What's up, my people?
How you doing, Bubby?
I'm doing good. What's up?
what's going on?
Remember whose game
I've
it
got
is.
this parasite.
Yeah, remember whose game this is. That's right.
Remember whose game it is. Let's go.
I'm very
Hey,
well
LA
aware
Knights
of
trying to get the LA Knights trying to get the Cena bump now. Is this what's going on?
He got
I
to
guess-
see the bump at Backlash.
Yeah, he got to see a bump a long time ago.
Yeah, he's in. He also, even before that, John Cena shared his Instagram story, and it was just a picture of LA Knight, and he was like, "Yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's time. It's time, boys. Sam's guy is on the rise, and I'm going to ride those coattails." Yeah.
What
I take Jim's
before
coattails,
we
but
get into
it's one of those like really fancy, like Sergeant Pepper Orchestra kind of coats. You know what I mean?
The big, the
Yeah.
fluff it out a little bit.
Jim, what's going on in the
before we
hockey
get
world?
into the hockey and preview, would you
Oh,
what'd you think
uh,
of Edge last night, Jim?
There you go.
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, like, look, I'm a big Edge guy. Adam Copeland. It was awesome to see. I kind of knew it was coming. Kind of worst kept secret in wrestling, I guess. Outside of when CM Punk came back and all that stuff. But I mean, for me, it was awesome. Look, the pay-per-view again was way too effing long. I was tired. It was a long day yesterday, and I watched it this morning because I wasn't staying up for best 2 out of 3 falls match. And I watched it. I got up early, watched it, saw the ending, and then I was like, this is cool. This is what they need.
Yeah.
It's a great signing.
Yeah.
Overall, pay-per-view was good. Again, I want to see FTR. They did good. The 6-man match was awesome. The tag team matches were solid. I mean, John Moxley on commentary was very good. MVP. Prince Nana is a star, so let's just leave it at that. I mean, again, overall it was a good show. Danielson and Sabre Jr. was great. I think they wore the crowd out until the Edge pop at the end. Christian Cage, a great heel. Overall, Wrestle Dream is a good thing. I saw Tony Khan some stuff coming out of press conference. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna make it an annual thing." Okay, great. Now you have 7 pay-per-views. Are you gonna learn to cut the shows down? Because 4.5-hour shows, 5-hour shows are not happening every week. And if you're going to do it, go back to Saturday, my man. Like, TK, love you. I know you listen to stuff because things I've said on other places, Nightcap Recap on Instagram, we've talked about it. Sometimes those changes happen. So, Tony Khan, I know you listen to everything because you're a big wrestling mark. I'm telling you here with my boys, the Maniacs, here on a Monday night, the Let's Talk Sports show, you gotta cut down. You gotta cut down a pay. You gotta cut down a pay-per-view
petty.
times, man. Too long. I don't mind for the big events. I don't care, especially the London one. I'll waste the Sunday afternoon, but the rest of them, no. Holiday weekends, fine. You want 4.5 hours, great. If you want 4 hours, do it on a Saturday. Because this Sunday stuff, done.
Like that's
Well,
a
you
long
know,
time for any
Minor
event.
notes
it's too
here,
long.
fellas. Drew Lock is in at quarterback for your Seattle Seahawks. Yep.
Yeah,
Gino
see,
out of the
I'm
game.
a little
Yeah,
worried,
Gino's
man.
at it.
I'm not a big fan of Drew Lock.
I mean, the way the Seahawks
No,
been
I'm not
playing
either.
tonight.
I'm not either.
The way the Seahawks been playing tonight, he might actually have a chance.
Turnover
Right.
City, and I don't mean apple or cherry.
Well, both guys are turnover city, so it doesn't
No,
matter.
they're both from the same town.
Well,
Who knew?
Jim, just so you know, Tanner replaced Bodkins and Cruz with Sam's son. So Sam's son is the extra maniac tonight.
He's
so.
very cute. He's
I
got way
like
more
it. I
charisma.
like it. See, this is what happens here on Monday night. This is why I love my Monday Night Maniacs, because you never don't know what's going to happen. Remember, Tanner, it goes back to Buffoons and Botkins. We didn't know what was going to happen either.
Never. Any Monday.
You don't know.
never
You
do.
didn't know what happens on Monday.
You
You
just
have
dealt,
no idea.
you dealt with the hands that are given to you while you're on the show. And that's about it.
Absolutely.
I
That's
just
it,
follow
man.
orders. Tanner's like, do this. And I'm like, okay.
Okay. Oh, I am really? Oh, okay.
I'm a follower.
Yeah, I can see that. I can
I
see
think
that.
yes.
I just wish I had more sleep.
That's right.
So-
Dude, I was running on empty yesterday, so
What's been your surprise story in the preseason so far, if you have one?
for the
For NHL.
hockey.
Yeah,
I mean, look, preseason's a preseason. I really don't overreact too much to their preseason. Even, even most of the beat writers, I don't understand it. Like, I was listening to this today. I was actually talking to somebody about this today. It's like every other sport, the media, they don't care about preseason. Like, you don't see any tweets about it here, there. NHL guys are just, like, locked in on preseason. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, like, I don't care. Like, I'll give you my observations if I'm watching a game. I'll let you know what's going on. But, I mean, like, look, the big thing is once the season starts, people are going to look at Patrick Kane. Where's he going to go? They had the video. Oh, he looks great. Dude, guys look great by themselves, too. Like, everybody looks great by themselves. Like, let's see game speed. Let's see how he reacts to cuts in a game, go back and forth. Like, he's still got time, but it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Could it be Dallas? Could it be Detroit? Could it be Buffalo? Name contenders, Toronto, if they can make the money work. Where can he go? But I think Dallas, Buffalo, Detroit are the places I could see him going. Today, obviously, the big news, Trevor Zegras gets his bridge deal with Anaheim. That's huge. They needed him back. I mean, look, you saw what I was saying. The young kids like that you need in training camp, especially with new coach, new system in place, especially out in Anaheim. Pat Verbeek, what are you doing? At least you got the money settled. Now get Drysdale in because he missed all of last year with a shoulder. So you need him back in there. And then Ottawa's trying to make Shane Pinto work up in with their cap situation. Who knew they were going to be up against the cap? So, look, a lot of players just still need to be signed. I mean, obviously everybody's going to focus on Bedard in Chicago, what he's going to do. But I think there's so many young players coming into this league that, the Calder Trophy may not be a lock for Connor Bedard. I think he still wins it, but I think that it's going to be a lot closer than people think just because of all the talent that's out there. And then one other thing I'm looking at is let's see how the Atlantic plays out because, with the news of Andrei Vasilevsky, having a back surgery, you don't know how those backs are. We see with goalies with hips, you don't know how long they're going to be out. You don't know how long they're going to react. He said 8 to 12 weeks. That's a minimum. I mean, you don't know how everything's going to come back. Is there going to be any setbacks? You just don't know with the back. So let's see if the Lightning can hang on. Same with the other Florida team, the Panthers. They had some injuries on their back end. So is this finally the year that Ottawa, Buffalo take that next step, get in the playoff mix? Because, look, if they can, Atlantic's going to be different. And I would not be surprised if the Boston Bruins somehow sneak back into this playoffs and get in the top 3. I just look, there's so many uncertainties right now that why not Boston, right? Why not?
Right.
Like this team is always they're not dead until they're out of it, and I think you never know. I think there's. I've been talking to some people up in Boston. There's a this team is motivated. This team is angry. This team is upset after what happened last year. I expect them to come out with a hot start.
And especially when you have the goaltenders that they do, that'll keep you in most games anyway. So
Yeah.
Oh my
Exactly.
gosh. What a touchdown. Sorry.
they can't
That was just-
they can't tackle Noah Fant going down the sideline, a tight end.
Oh
Come
my
on,
God.
really?
You would have thought,
he was out of
the
bounds.
former
He might have been out of
Broncos would make a
He
touchdown
just-
connection.
He just jogged his way down the sideline.
He's
Like,
down. He didn't score. His knee was
didn't.
down at the
I
one.
was like, that was too long of a fall to not be down though.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he's down at the
Still
two. He's
impressive,
down at the
though.
two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that big fella.
What is it? What is it with MetLife Stadium and quarterbacks this year?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Something in the water, something in the turf,
Could be.
I mean, it is built. It
Something
is
in the
built in
air.
a swamp.
something in the air.
In the air.
Actually, he
tonight.
might have been out. He might have been
He
out
might
of
have been
bounds
out of
before he was even down.
Yeah, the field
Yeah.
goal kick is out already. So
So that's coming back. So okay, yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, MetLife. Who knows? I mean, though I will say this. Look, Zach Wilson's taken a lot of heat for his performance, rightfully
I
so.
thought he did just fine. I
But
really
last night he looked like the Zach Wilson I remember from BYU.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Gunning it.
Nathaniel Hackett drawed up some plays. Collinsworth was saying, "Hey, got to move him out of space, get him away from the offensive, get him on a run." He looked good, and there's talent there, and I think that's why you don't bring in anybody because the kid knows the playbook, and they realize. I think the first couple of weeks they were still in shell shock. Like Rodgers is not coming back. This offense for Rodgers. But now, like, okay, we have to design this offense around this kid. What is his strength? Okay, he can throw the football. Okay, let's get him into space. Let's move him around. Let's get him away from that offensive line. And what do we have? Oh, we have Garrett Wilson. We got Breece Hall. We got Dalvin. Okay, let's dial that up too. So look, they put up a good fight. They played well.
Yeah.
They played better than anybody expected it to. And Mike Tirico, by the way, I'm going to just let you know here, Rutgers, where Rutgers University plays, is 35 miles from MetLife Stadium, not 10. So anybody who's from New Jersey knows that it's not 10 miles away.
I think the other thing was that I was impressed. They talked about how they were losing the locker room and what. Did you see those players rally behind Wilson and patting him on the back, give him a hug and everything like that? Like
It's made-up stories. Made-up
It
stories
is.
about
It
losing
is.
the
It's
locker
just
room.
garbage.
Look, guys are frustrated.
Yeah.
Look, the guys are frustrated. They know guys are frustrated. But they got to block the noise out of guys on ESPN and all these people say, hey, Wilson's no good, losing the locker room. Guys are frustrated. They get it because everything – they went all in on Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers ain't there. Plain and simple, he ain't coming back. Okay? Got to face facts. The guy's not coming back. But they got to rally around this guy because
getting
if
fighty.
they don't rally around this kid, his confidence is going to go. The locker room's going to be a mess, and it's just going to be a wasted season. At 1-3, it's still not over. If Zach Wilson could play like that every week, and Nathaniel Hackett can actually do that kind of stuff, maybe the Jets actually have a chance at something. Maybe.
Yeah, sure. Wild cards.
He looked really good. His throws were spot on, and I don't know. Maybe it's just being back at home and the prime lights. That really helped things out. Chiefs missing a few pieces. Mahomes giving him opportunities to go throw the ball.
Is it over? Is it over, Tanner? Is it over?
I don't want to talk about Mahomes right now. His slide.
He's dead to me.
His
I'm
slide.
sitting to
Dude,
his room,
Don't-
and he's not allowed
It was
to
the
come
right
out.
move, but not for
Plus,
us
don't
bettors.
it's a new playbook for him to learn. It's going to take him 2 or 3 weeks to learn it in game action. Even though he knows the plays, it's still going to take you to learn where the receivers are going to be, where they're not going to be, where do I throw, where do I. So to me, if Zach Wilson starts playing the way 80% of the way he played last night, the Jets will be just fine. Now, granted, they're going to beat the Dolphins and the Bills. Probably not, but are they going to be teams like the Patriots?
Hey, they already beat the
teams
Bills
like-
once. You
They
never
beat the
know.
Bills once.
They
Go
already
out
beat the
and
Bills
True.
once.
True.
Go out
So,
and
I mean,
but-
look,
Guys, it's time for another impression. This is Al Pacino for Any Given Sunday. Gentlemen, we either live as a team or die as individuals. That's how I feel the Jets need to be right now. That was for you. Go ahead, Jim. See,
No, look,
I mean, this is what happens.
I mean, look, the Jets are the Jets. And again, like I said, if Nathaniel Hackett can really dial up the plays that fit Zach Wilson like they did last night, even he said it. They're on the same page again. Okay, look, they're on the same page. If we could see more of that, I think the Jets have a chance. If we don't, well, this is going to be the same old story every week. Oh, what about Zach Wilson, this and that? It's just not about Zach Wilson because that offensive line is awful.
Yeah. And screw Rodney Harrison for saying that after the show. Come on, man.
Salah said this morning that Rodney was going about it the right way. It's what he said.
What did he say? I didn't even hear what he said.
Oh, he basically was trying to
Zach Wilson was
Chris
garbage.
Jones.
Watching that tape, man, you got to look at this dude and say, "Oh, he is garbage. We should really tear him apart." He said that to Chris Jones.
Come
But
on,
he was trying
man.
to
You
get Chris
can't.
Jones to go along with him. He was trying to get good
Chris
TV.
Jones
tape.
wasn't having it.
Yeah, but that's
Chris
not good
Jones
TV. You know what good TV is? Is what Sam Hartman did on Saturday night. That's good TV. After Riley Leonard got hurt, that's good TV.
Exactly.
T Swift is not good. Not good football though.
Yeah,
Oh.
showing Taylor Swift 9,000 times is kind of
That's awful, man. Enough. She did not invent football. I'm tired of it. It's not sports news. It's not relevant. I don't care. I want to watch the game. If I wanted to watch Taylor Swift, I go to one of her concerts. I don't need to see her 50 million times. I really don't.
Exactly.
Preach.
Exactly.
All right,
Preach.
see if you can hear this here. Nope, because I can't even hear it. That's cool. I didn't want to share with you guys anyways.
Fine. You know,
Seriously?
that's why you're the producer and I'm the host. Okay.
Well, whatever. But basically, he was trying to bait Chris Jones. I don't know what's going on here.
Chris Jones wasn't having it. To his credit, he was not having it.
So, see, the other thing that I don't get with NBC is they've changed the format. And so now Rodney Harrison is the post-game host, so to speak.
Jim, I'll catch you, Jim.
He should not be in that position as a post-game host. He's an analyst, and that's what he should be. He should not be asking the questions. He should be analyzing with the player. Hey, go to the telestrator and look on the telestrator and say, "Hey, tell me what happened on this play." And that's
Yeah.
oh, we lost Jim. And that's
He's going to
that's
restart. Right.
so.
Washington Chiefs going to be in suffer. Yeah, it will be. Tell you that much. Not really. As long as we win, that's all that matters. Right? Is that what they say?
Alan,
as long as you win.
Alan, Tanner's willing to trade Mahomes to Dallas. You interested in him? Do you want him?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't want Dak because he's not going to score a touchdown either. So
No, I know that. I know that.
I'm out on that
You
guy.
just go throw the other uniform.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Tanner, you chose violence today, young man. Goodness gracious.
Just go up by 10, dude. It's the same damn thing that you're doing. Stop at a 2. Just go up by 10. Just go up by 10.
Yeah. Are you saying he's not different?
That's all you.
It doesn't make sense.
Scoring a touchdown, not scoring a
make
touchdown
sense.
would not have mattered last night. It would not have mattered last night.
It wouldn't have. It wasn't like it was, like 3 minutes left or anything like that, no timeouts. No.
Daniel Jones.
It was like,
looks
30
strong.
seconds? Get
Yeah.
in the end zone, kick it off, 1 or 2 plays max, and you're done. You're finished.
Right.
And everybody
Right.
covers.
Sure.
Right.
But no.
That's
No.
that's a play that Mahomes did when it's like 35 seconds.
Yeah.
And the Jets or 2.5 minutes up, whatever it may be.
Even
wouldn't
for
have
like a
mattered.
makeup, right? Even for a makeup for playing shitty the entire game. Like at least make it up by scoring something,
Sure. Yeah. I get it.
I'm
I
not-
get it.
I'm not really mad at Mahomes, just to clear it up.
No, it's
Just
okay.
sit on the
Yeah,
bench.
no, you're a little frustrated with Mahomes. Let's be honest. Then that's okay.
I'm
Well-
frustrated with these other people.
How do you think frustrated I am?
When
Right?
no-
I'm dealing with Ryan, the roller coaster that is Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, I know. I don't want none of your
And-
problems.
Right. And so but the bottom line is this, and we talked about it. If he's not starting, then you have no chance of winning. Like that's just how it is.
That's how it is. That's what I was talking about. That Cruz and
Mhm.
Watkins always gives me a hard time about. Is the fact that it's without Tannehill, your team's not really not good.
Ever since he took over, he's 8-3 in the division, and by the way, swept the Colts more times than Steve McNair did, and that's saying something.
That is saying something.
That's saying something. So as much as they want to not like him, and I get it, trust me, he does something for that team, whether they like it or not.
He does. He really does in the end, you know.
Mm-hmm. He did it. They threw the ball around.
He did.
They won. You know, I'm still stunned. I'm stunned. The
thing with Tennessee.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Uh-oh. Are we here? Oh no.
Everybody's losing the connection in the Northeast, man.
Not me, baby. I plugged it all in, man.
You're not in the Northeast.
No, I'm down here with the home cooking.
Everybody in the Northeast is losing connection.
Oh, yeah, I know. What's going on up there?
As long as Vrabel's the head coach at Tennessee, they're fine. They're fine.
Oh, yeah,
I agree. Hi, Jim. You're back. I missed you.
I don't know when Tanner did what he did, my audio and stuff went out.
It's switches.
Northeastern
I don't get
internet
it.
connection. They stink. We hate your Northeastern internet connection.
No, it's not my internet connection.
If it's the internet connection above the Mason-Dixon line, we don't want it. You hear me?
Yo, the internet
Listen,
connection
before
below
it
the
goes out
Mason-Dixon
again,
line is not as good. It wasn't the internet, though. I don't know what happened.
It's just I think StreamYard freaking out because StreamYard's been weird lately.
It has been.
It has been. It has been. And we better get to what Tanner wants to get to before something we crash totally.
Yeah, he's going to hurt us. He'll mute us.
Don't worry, I'm not sharing anything because it seems to mess a lot of stuff up.
Yeah. So I mean, look, Rodney
feelings.
Harrison trying to do things on television. It is what it is. But like I said before, Sam Hartman about Riley Leonard, that's good stuff. Great sportsmanship. In a great game by Duke and Notre Dame this past weekend. I thought Duke was going to hold on to it. Mike Elko, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you decided to rush 4 on 4th and 16. You were bringing the house the whole night. You were dialing up pressure all night. And on that play, you didn't dial up pressure. And you got burned. Unreal. And in the end, Notre Dame found a way to win the game.
Look, let me ask you guys before we get to
unreal.
Yeah, I know. Does it seem like coaching is really bad nowadays in football, pro and college? There's 2 or 3 NFL coaches that are awful, beyond awful. College, do they overthink it? Do they over-prepare? What do you guys think it is?
It's just talent, dude.
Yeah, I think
college
it's
is just
talent, managing talent.
The difference in the recruits you saw it from Oregon to Colorado. Right? It's a difference in talent. In the end,
it's just talent. It's talent. Yeah. And I mean, look, Duke has talent, but they don't have Notre Dame talent, right? They just don't. And that's an issue. But they were in the game.
There's also motivation, right?
There's motivation. You want to beat Notre Dame, this and that. Notre Dame probably should have played a lot better than they did. They probably should have blew the doors off. They didn't. They allowed Duke to stick around. But, again, poor coaching decisions. Also, great play by Leonard, but then you get the pass interference when you're on the 1-yard line on the final drive, that 95-yard drive. You can't – those are mistakes that can't happen. They got the Hartman. It was almost a safety. They almost put the game away, and then you get pass interference. That's tough. You can't convert. And then I think Elko just overthought it there because – he just brought pressure 3 straight, maybe not dial it up again, but it's been working. And even Herb Street was saying it. It's he's sticking with what he knows, but then he went prevent. And you can't do that because then they just left a wide open running space.
Yeah.
Those schools that aren't football schools, technically, right? The basketball or your small schools, the reason you see those upsets happen a lot because they take advantage of the actual football schools opportunities that they grant them, right? And be able to do that. 2 missed calls, 2 big calls, 3 missed calls cost you that game, despite being right. That's what it is in the end. You can't allow for opportunity to slip away from your hands, and expect a winning result as a school like that.
No, again, you have to take advantage of the situation that's there. Now, you flip to the earlier game and you say, okay, well, USC's up 20. They should cruise. It's 48-21. They're up huge, right?
Yeah.
It's going away. Either A, they relaxed, or B, their defense is that bad that's going to cost them the Pac-12 championship and a spot in the playoff, because it is you cannot give up 20 points in the fourth quarter. I'm sorry. They almost blew the game. They really did. It were an onside. Colorado was an onside kick away from winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
They were.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
100% true.
Lincoln. I mean, I know that's Lincoln Riley's MO from his Oklahoma days, but there's a reason they dropped again in the poll. Their defense is not that good. It's just not that good.
It isn't.
It's not.
You
These
gotta
are
be
so
able
big
to
too.
stop. Like look, the week before we saw Oregon just kill them. They didn't even give them an inch out there defensively.
No, they did not. They did not. I mean,
Nope.
the bad part is now in college football, the number of legitimate national championship contenders, you could almost count on like one hand in basically 6 or 7. Basically, LSU is done now. They were in contention. No. They're done. Florida State, I think is really good, but I don't know if they're a legitimate national championship contender.
I don't know if they are either.
Texas.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out if they are.
Texas and Oklahoma, we'll find a lot out about this weekend coming up with the
Red River game. But I was bringing up to somebody. Does this game really even matter? I know pride's on the line, but it's not gonna matter for rankings and anything, because they're the two best teams in the Big 12, and they're gonna have a rematch again in Jerry's world.
I think it matters for Texas more than anything. I think that's a team that they want to get in that playoff contention.
Well, yeah, I think it matters for Texas.
But
but what happens if they play again in the Big 12 championship game and Oklahoma beats them?
Yeah. Then you're out of the playoffs.
Then you're out of the playoffs.
You got 3 teams in the Big 10, and 2 of them are going to get knocked out. You got Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State, Michigan might knock one of each other out, and Penn
we
State
said that last year, and it didn't happen.
It didn't happen, right?
There's some teams that will grant themselves a second loss, maybe a third. At times, depending.
You're not 3 losses. Don't get you this.
There's no way this year.
No,
that it'll get you in. But I mean, you can do 2 losses for some of these teams just because of the way where they're playing and everything against the strength of schedule.
Well, that's what I was surprised when the AP poll came out. I was like, because I was thinking to myself after watching Saturday, I was like, are the pollers, the guys that vote on this thing, they may actually knock Georgia down a spot. But then I kept thinking to myself, well, probably not, because they're the 2-time defending champions. They're the champs until proven otherwise. There's a difference between being number 1 in a poll and the best team in the nation right now. The best team in the nation right now is up for debate.
A big debate.
Oh, it is.
Big debate.
Huge debate.
It could be Washington, Oregon, pick Michigan, Texas.
Texas, yeah, I was gonna say Texas is in that range.
I mean,
even Penn State, who's been dominating teams.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State had they turned the Jets on in the fourth quarter against Northwestern. That game shouldn't have been that close.
They saved
the fourth quarter.
They saved that cover. I can tell you that much in the fourth.
And by the way, the best team in New Jersey resides at Rutgers. They're 4-1. So
yeah,
and they might be 5-1 if they beat Luke Fickell's Wisconsin.
Hey, how many miles away is it from MetLife again?
35. Mike Tirico, look at a map.
I couldn't help it.
No, I mean, I heard that last night, but the thing was, I heard that last night. I'm like, what? It's like, what the hell?
All the locals.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
if you take a right here and you go down the street and then you take a left, you can get there in 10 miles. You can't get there in 35, whatever it may be. But Michigan, I'm not sold on Michigan. I've never been sold on a Jim Harbaugh coach team in college.
Me neither.
And that's the thing. And a lot of people put Michigan up there. I don't put them up there. I don't think they're going to win the national title.
I don't think they're going to win the national title either. I think they're going to find a way to screw it up like they always do.
That's right. So,
look, I mean, if they beat Ohio State again, great. You're back in the playoff. You win the Big 12. You win the Big 10, but
you're gonna lose 37-34 to a like a TCU like team in the first game.
Yeah. Which that shouldn't have happened, but it shouldn't have happened, but it did, because they were this was the problem. They were so amped up about we want Georgia, we want the rematch, that they forgot they were playing TCU.
Exactly. Exactly.
You forgot about playing TCU before you're like, oh, we're in the final already. No, you're still playing TCU as a quality team. Like, you still got to play those guys. So, I mean, it's up for debate. Texas, like I said, one of the Pac-12 teams. It's really fascinating this year to think that the SEC's so down. And again, Nick Saban's not buried in the ground until, he isn't in the SEC championship game, and because Alabama found a way to come back. Ole Miss had a nice win. That was what a wild game that one was. That was fun.
I watched the whole game. It was wild.
Nuts.
That was wild. Big 12 defense in SEC. Man, these guys were just going back and forth the whole game.
It was like 7-0 after the first quarter. The first quarter was awful. So, and then all of a sudden, both quarterbacks said, "Okay, here we go, bombs away."
Right.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. These guys were scoring at will.
Yeah. Doesn't Oregon and Washington play this week? Are they playing this weekend? Or
Oregon, Washington play this week. Yeah,
that's a big game.
Gonna be huge.
The other big game there is Kentucky and Georgia. In Georgia.
See, I mean, I would have given Kentucky more of a chance in this one if it was in Kentucky.
Yeah.
But I will say this: Georgia cannot get off to the start it did against this Kentucky team because they are really good.
Kentucky can go down the field this year and actually score on you.
No, by the way, Oregon and Washington play the following week.
All right, so they're not this weekend. Okay.
That's
the marquee game. That's the marquee game of the weekend. Next weekend is Oregon, Washington.
Next week, next week, because that's gonna determine a lot in the Pac-12.
It also could determine the Heisman, too.
Absolutely.
I forgot about the Missouri game.
Missouri. That's a tough game for LSU because Missouri almost beat Georgia last year.
Well, LSU's got no defense.
Weird,
but they have no defense.
No defense. Oh. And by the way, I want to say this: Brian Kelly, who's dialing up plays? How does Malik Neighbors not even get a look on the final drives of that game?
Agreed.
The best wide receiver in the SEC does not get a look.
I agree. Watch that game. It was like after they completed the 45-yard pass, it was like, all right, we're in there. We've done our job. We're not going to get our best receiver in the mix here. Boom.
Like, that was a great play. They dialed up to Thomas. Nice crossing route. You get 45 yards. Okay, LSU looks like they're going to win this one. Penalty, bad play. It's like, what are you doing?
All
clock management.
All LSU had to do was stop them one time, and they win the game. And they couldn't stop them.
Couldn't stop them.
Could not stop them.
It was unreal. We got Ohio State with Maryland in Ohio State. Ohio State coming off.
I think Ohio State should probably win that game.
Should, but I think Maryland can give them a little.
I think Maryland will keep it close for a half, and I think Ohio State figures out.
So I say fourth quarter.
I'm impressed by Tua's brother at Maryland.
He's
playing really well.
He's been good since last year too. He's been really turning it on.
Yeah, I didn't watch them until this weekend because it was on the Big Ten Network. So I watched that game. He's really impressive. I really like the way he plays quarterback. So,
do we think maybe another matchup? I mean, number 14, 4-0, North Carolina has Syracuse coming off that Clemson loss, kind of exposed Syracuse in a way.
North Carolina should win again.
They should.
The biggest question for North Carolina is their defense, like USC's, but North Carolina's defense, I think, if they could, Syracuse is not the same team at home as they are on the road. On the road, they're not as good. So I think North Carolina should win this game, and let's see what their defense is about. That's the big key for me. That's how North Carolina wins the ACC is their defense. We'll see if it shows up.
And they're still in contention for it. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. One-loss teams, are still in it.
What's your thoughts on Texas-Oklahoma, Jim?
Should be a good game. I think that's going to be a fun game. Could be. I mean, Texas can sling the ball as we saw last week. I mean, and their defense is actually really good this year too. And Oklahoma's defense is really good. So this might be a low-scoring game. I mean, these two teams don't like each other. This pride's on the line in this one, in the Red River rivalry. So I love this game. I always watch this game. this is one of my when I look for it on the calendar. I was like, when Texas, Oklahoma playing, because to me nothing better. I think Texas ends up winning this game. I know Allen's an Oklahoma guy, but I just feel like Texas is on a different level this year. Sarkisian just has them playing. There's something in the water. Sam Ewers just looking good. I feel like Texas can finally end this losing streak.
I do too.
I think so.
They ran really well against KU last week. Even when it was close, you didn't feel like the Jayhawks really still had a chance. No Jalen Daniels helped, of course, for Texas, but it did not feel like they had much of a chance to finish the game as close as it was. Yeah, exactly. Well, don't get me wrong, but Texas, they turned on the Jets. You saw them run the ball a lot better in that fourth quarter as well, where they really kind of just started separating from that score there. I mean, Texas is good this year, and we saw the Bama game, the way they pulled ahead early and stayed ahead.
I mean, there were times in that Bama game though that Alabama looked like Alabama, but their defense just couldn't stop anybody in that game. That was the big problem.
You had that. You had Wyoming. Wyoming was a good test for Texas as well.
Well, they were coming off that was the game they were coming off the big Bama win. So that Wyoming kept that game close.
Yeah, and they got Fresno State this week. Wyoming does.
That's gonna be a decent match to watch. Yeah, that should be a fun game out west conference. So that should be pretty good.
Yeah, we're gonna have a bunch of games.
That should be a fun game.
Yeah, we do. It's gonna be a busy couple of days.
I have to reload. Make sure
it is going to be a busy couple of days. Look,
sure it'd be nice to have the Mahomes score.
a lot of good action, conference plays here, a lot of good fun games in the college football world. Like I said, I tell everybody, like I was at the preseason game, Devil Ranger game. I was like, the results don't matter. The guys you want to play well, play well. Mm-hmm. The preseason hockey, to me, the results don't matter. It's just how do the guys look? How the line chemistry? The Devils got a nice line. Toffoli, Brad Hughes, they're clicking and power play. But like I said, there's things teams can work on that come out of the preseason. Oh, my team gave up 5 goals. Okay, big deal. It's not the regular season. So-and-so gave up. Yeah, who cares? It's preseason. It doesn't matter. These results, goals, wins, losses, and all those points, they don't matter.
No, I got to give it 2-3 weeks before I start betting hockey.
Right, exactly, because nobody knows what's going on.
You got to give it some time to see exactly how these teams start taking effect, how they're scoring, where's the defense at the time. It changes, of course, through the season, but you at least get an idea after 2-3 weeks of the over-unders, especially. I feel I was really successful in hockey last year, just following it, looking at the scores. So I'm all about it. I'm excited for this thing to return. Well, we got 9 days till the regular season.
Eight more sleeps.
Eight more sleeps.
Yeah.
8 more sleeps.
9 days. Yep.
Hey, let's real quick here, because we got Jonathan here. We got to go over our Thursday bet as well. But let's go over here some futures on you. Okay. I'm just pick your brain a little bit here.
Yep.
All right. So currently favored as the best bet. It looks like we got Colorado still favored for the Stanley Cup.
No, absolutely not.
No.
There's no way. No. Carolina moved up from where they were actually 4th a couple weeks ago when we initially talked. They moved up plus 900.
No,
I'm with Jim. I know exactly.
I would have put a piece if Carolina was at plus 900. I actually would have put something down on that just because. But no, I'm still not taking. They play a certain way, and unless they change that way, they're not winning a Stanley Cup.
So your next 3 are tied up plus 1,100. I'm looking here at FanDuel's line. So plus 1,100, Edmonton, New Jersey, and Toronto.
No.
I don't know why Toronto's
strike 3, 4, and 5. Next.
Dallas at 1,300. Vegas at 1,300.
Vegas 1,300. Bingo.
Yeah.
That's the money. That's the one.
That's the one.
I think Vegas is at plus 1,600 on DraftKings. They're plus 600, one of them.
Vegas is plus 1,200 in DraftKings.
Bingo. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. We have a winner. Look,
Why
for
why
me,
they are
I
so
still-
low?
Why they are
No
so
idea.
low, I have no idea. I still can't get a straight answer from anybody. I think nobody believes that Aiden Hell can do what he does again. That yes, the team is different, but to me, Vegas has proven since day one they've come into this league, this team creates history, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They made the final in their very first season. They've been to the playoffs 5 of 6 years. They've been in the conference finals 3 years. Like, tell me a team right now that you have more confidence in the Western Conference. Edmonton,
No.
same problems. Defense and goaltending. Still got to work on it. Colorado, tell me who their second line center is. If it's Ryan Johansson, great. But guess what? Can they beat teams when it matters? Is the defense going to hold up? Cale Makar's a great player. Devon Taves is great. Samuel Girard's great. Let's see if Alexander Georgiev can stop a puck when it matters. Then you go to Toronto. I am not taking Toronto to save my life. Okay?
Yeah.
No chance.
No way. No way.
No way.
After that
No.
whole debacle in the offseason, too, not even
No
wanting
way.
to touch it.
But eventually it will be Toronto's time. It ain't this year. Sorry. They just don't prove it in the second season. They're a great regular season team, just can't get it done.
Right.
New Jersey, I love New Jersey. Look, team I cover, rooted for this team for years. I still think they're a year away from being a cup contender because goaltending to me is still a weakness for this team. Their defense is a little different. Nemec looks really good. Luke Hughes looks really good. They're going to make some mistakes. Their defense is solid. Their offense, their top 9 is probably one of the best in the league. But again, if they had gotten Connor Hellebuck, I'd probably put them ahead of Vegas because that guy can win series, win games when it matters. He's like Andrei Vasilevsky, okay? There's a reason why Tampa was the favorite for how many years. It was because of Vasilevsky and who they had on that team. Colorado might not even win their own division this year. That's how good Dallas is. And there's real steam about Patrick Kane going to Dallas. He loves that team. He loves playing there. If they land Patrick Kane, I mean, Dallas is going to be a real threat to win that division.
Is Kane not with New York anymore?
No, he's a free agent.
No, he's not.
He's still, I didn't know. I thought he got signed.
No,
Or
he's still out
free
there.
agent.
He's
He's still out there.
Whoa.
He could swing the pendulum depending on when he signs in terms
Right.
of a
He
team.
could go to if he goes to Buffalo to add to that offense, that's scary good.
Yeah.
If he goes to Dallas, that with the guys there, he knows a bunch of guys there. So, look,
Man, that'd be something there.
Look at
There are
that.
sometimes. So there are some times when I feel that Vegas, not the Knights, Vegas, wants you to take a certain team so they can make money. In this case, I think Vegas is saying, don't take the Golden Knights. We think they're going to be bad because we really think they're going to be really win the Stanley Cup. So don't take them. Take these other top teams and leave the Golden Knights down there, and they'll win the Stanley Cup, and we won't lose a lot of money. That's what I think they're doing. They're baiting you into taking somebody else.
and I think I'm not falling into the trap of taking that bait because I would bet Vegas to repeat because I think that's how good they are. Their defense hasn't changed.
Nope.
Their goaltending hasn't changed. Their offense minus Riley Smith, okay. They add plug and play pieces.
And Jim, I know Bruce Cassidy, he will not take the foot off the pedal at all with them. He will keep his foot on the pedal and make them work harder because they're the defending champions. And that will help Vegas in the playoffs, I think.
Look,
so
Bruce Cassidy bet you he told his boys after they won, okay, great, go enjoy it for a little bit. But
get ready.
But your butt is back on the ice on this date, starting to train, and we are going to be ready to work when we get in.
Same thing that Andy Reid and Mahomes do, Hey, let's enjoy it. Let's get back to work. New year.
Right. So to me, I think the play is Vegas. I agree with Scott. I think they're telling you, oh, well, why don't you take this team? Why don't you take this team? There might not be as much action on Vegas.
Right.
In that play. Hey, let's look here real quick here at the Hart Trophy winner, which I assume is the Rookie of the Year.
No, MVP.
MVP. Sorry, MVP. So we got that's right. Never mind. It is MVP. I was reading the names wrong. McDavid, McKinnon. Oh, it is McKinnon. Okay.
Yep.
Matthews and Drosalti. We got plus
Drysdale,
110.
yeah, Drysdale, yeah.
Drysdale, okay. Plus 110 for McDavid, plus 1,200 for McKinnon, plus 16, plus 18, plus 18. Sorry, Hughes is plus 18. That rounds out your
so
2,000.
here's the great debate, right? And it's in all of sports. It's in every sport. Do you get superstar fatigue? Because the best player in the NHL is Connor McDavid. And he should win the Hart Trophy every year. He should win the Hart Trophy every year. The question is if somebody does something super special and his point totals are down, do they go another way? Even though McDavid will have whatever he has. That's where this award is so tricky. For me, I say you always bet McDavid because he's the best player in the world. But there's going to be a time when I'm going to say Jack Hughes is going to be up and win this award. Or guy on his own team, Draisaitl, can win it. I mean, remember, the year Matthews won, he won the Rocket, he won the Art Ross, he won all the major awards. So, I mean, I like McDavid. I always will like McDavid, but the voting comes down to superstar fatigue.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
You see it in every sport.
You do.
See it in every sport.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you go back, like you're telling me, like I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, but you're telling me LeBron James is an MVP after the season he has is like going back years, like somebody else would win MVP. I'm like, yeah, okay.
You can never win three. You
can't win three in a row.
Joker should have won last year. Instead, they had to give it away to Embiid.
Jordan never won three in a row. Every year they won the championship, he should have been MVP in the regular season.
It did. I'm with you there. It's superstar fatigue. It's what it is.
It's superstar fatigue. Again, if Connor McDavid's put up to another 150 points, 60 goals, whatever, he's getting it. Yeah. If he falls short and somebody else does something special, like say, for instance, Jack Hughes becomes the first player in Devils history to get 100 points, which I think he's going to this year. If that's a bet, take it. Then he might get it. You don't know. Like you don't know because again, it's superstar fatigue. But to me, the plays McDavid.
McDavid until further notice.
And on FanDuel, he's still plus money, right, Tanner?
Yeah, plus 110.
Yeah. So he's plus money. But what I tend to do is I'll put some money on the favorite, and then I'll put some money on a guy like Jack Hughes.
I would take. I think I think to me that's your dark horse this year.
Yeah.
I think that. Yeah. I think Jack Hughes is gonna. I personally believe he's gonna be a finalist, just because he's really that good. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased, because I'm a Devils fan, and like I've covered this team. Like he is good of a player.
He's been good. He's been good for a while.
So he just Calder Trophy winner. Yeah, so the Calder Trophy winner, which is your Rookie of the Year, which is the one I was thinking of earlier. Bedard, minus 120 is not like there's no plus in this. Minus 120 is your best bet on him. Cooley in Arizona plus 1,200. And Hughes plus 1,300. Everybody else is 2,000 or more in the odds.
Look, it's hard not to. I mean, look, Bedard's definitely gonna be the guy. If you want to win money, look, Devin Levi in Buffalo, I think would be a good play.
Plus 2,000.
Yeah, I mean Logan Cooley could be good. Adam Fantilli could be another guy. It could be a dark horse for the Calder Trophy. Again, I think Fantilli's gonna have a great season in Columbus.
Yeah.
You know, he's such a special player. I don't think Carlson's going to be in the mix in Anaheim, but you know, again, you find these guys that come out of nowhere.
Fantilli plus 2,300.
Yeah, I mean that's a smart play. You could spread some money out around here and find a winner real nice. I mean, to me, I think that's where you go. I don't know if you go favorite here, just because I think he wins it, but I think you gotta go find some money someplace, like like a Fantilli, like a Levi, guys like that.
Oh yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah.
Who else is on that list, by the way?
You have Clark at plus 2,000, Levi plus 2,000, Fantilli plus 23, Knees plus 25, or Knees.
Yeah, Matthew Nyes.
Evangelista,
Yeah.
plus 25, and that was the final in the twos. Wright from Seattle starts at 3. So
yeah, I don't even know if Shane Wright's going to be on Seattle this year to start. So I don't think that's the play.
Fantilli would be a nice bring back if he wins it.
I think Fantilli's. I think the Fantilli's probably there. Levi, I think everybody's gonna. I think the money's on Bedard, but again, Luke Hughes. This is why I say it's so wide open. There, David Jurek. Again, there's so many young players, and there are guys on this list. There'll be players that come out of nowhere that is like, wait a minute, who's this dude? Like Nedeljkovic, the one year he was not. I was like, yo, who's this guy? Where'd he come from? Or Stuart Skinner last year? What? These guys are rookie eligible still. So yeah. I think you go find money here. I don't think you bet the favorite.
You don't have to sit there at minus 120.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about it here. Let's get our picks here for next week on Thursday.
You're 2-1, right? I'm 2-1.
Yep, correct. Right. I haven't scored it yet, but yes, you were Lions minus 1.5. Myself, Johnny, were also minus 1.5, and John was also minus 1.5.
I mean, that was kind of easy to take the minus 1.5 for the Lions.
Don't talk to Nick, Scott, or Sam about it because
we don't want
Jordan Love and hope for the best.
No, I basically picked Green Bay because of Watson and Jones coming back. I thought that would help them out a lot.
No, Scott, stop.
Jordan Love puked
on
himself.
You were trying to suck up to Nick. I know what you guys are doing, trying to suck up to Nick. Well, Guess what? He's just a peon in my scheme. So don't suck up to that guy in the Packers and the Cubs.
Easy there, Madoff. All right, okay, take it easy. All right.
So we got Chicago, Washington. In Washington,
man,
for this.
Did you get a worse NFL game on a Thursday?
Which one is it? Who is it?
Chicago in Washington.
Oh goodness.
So we always go by DraftKings here. So DraftKings is still at the 7.7 mark line. So -7 for Commanders.
No, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Washington's given 7. How come Washington's 7? Come on, really? Oh my God!
Watch them cover it too.
I know.
Yeah, I know that. I know
Watch
that.
them cover it. Watch them cover it.
The Chicago coaching staff's going to say Justin Fields said you had too good of a game. We can't have you have two good games in a row. So here we go.
I mean, shit. I don't really want to take the Bears. I really don't. I just don't have any faith in this team.
I don't know how
you would. Bad. They're awful.
Can we abstain? Do we have to pick this game?
I've already tried that. Broncos, Bears, and a couple other the Colts, Texans.
Can we really abstain? This is really bad. What was the?
And it's 7 out of everything. It's 7.
7. Yeah.
It couldn't have been 4.5.
Right? You just pick the money line instead of points.
Yeah, can we take the over under in this game?
Well, here's in all honesty. I did if it was under 7, I got Washington at 6. So I took Washington -6. At 7, I can't touch 7.
I really can't touch 7.
It's gonna end up 24-17. You watch.
I think you know what? Just for the hell of it, I'm gonna take Washington -7. Just for the hell of it.
Commanders -7 for Jim's Thursday night.
Because I don't believe in the Bears.
I don't either. They're so bad.
No, I don't either.
I don't believe in the
Bears. He's
upset
about that he has to pick this. He's generally upset.
Well, the game sucks.
Yesterday.
The game sucks too.
The game sucks. The line sucks. This is okay.
It's bad.
It's just bad all around.
It's awful.
I would not bet this game if I actually had to bet this game.
I'm with you.
We're back to the Thursday night bad games again. So here's one.
I mean, if we could if there was any other, if I could exchange any game, I would do it.
Tanner, do you know when this changing game stats. Do you know when this flex schedule comes out? Is it not until like December or late
man,
November?
later.
Is it later?
It's like week 7 or week 8. They can start flexing out.
I thought the NFL was supposed to give Amazon like good games or something. Weren't they supposed to give Amazon good games?
No.
They just give them games.
They gave them games. That
That's all
doesn't
you
mean
need.
they have to be. They didn't have to be good.
You don't have to
Because
schedule
what
a game.
happened is ESPN started crying that the Monday night games were not good, so they had to accommodate ESPN and NBC for those primetime games.
Yeah.
Well, tonight's a perfect example of a not good game. You got Drew Lock in the quarterback for the Seahawks. Jeez, come on, really?
Look, I didn't expect the Giants to win this game anyway, so it don't matter.
No, I didn't think so either. But
Gosh,
Daniel Jones.
everybody's coming down now. It's just like
We're down on the NFL right now.
Look,
We're not
again, even they're pointing it out. Peyton's talking about it. They're showing it, the picture. Get Jalen Hyatt involved in the offense. This kid has breakaway speed.
They just don't do it. They don't do anything like that.
Do it.
Yeah.
The kid single-handedly beat Alabama, and he's not involved.
Daniel Jones is one of the worst bottom 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. He just is. He really is. The Giants have no offense. They have no offense at all. This kid, Daniel Jones, he's awful. He really is. He's throwing balls behind guys. He had Matt Breida he threw a pass to. It was behind him. Matt Breida stumbled, got the ball, and then stumbled when he turned. Like, come on, man.
So bad.
Come on.
I'm done with the Daniel Jones. I really am.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, Jim. Your
done with that.
positivity
Wait, first of all, Tanner knows how I feel about him, and everybody, the whole world knows how I feel about Daniel Jones. So I can't continue to say the same stuff I've been saying for the last 5 years.
Can't.
Because it's plain and simple.
Jim and I and Nick have had a really good discussion about it before. So yes,
but there's nobody out there.
So Tanner, the two things that came out of the Buffoon and Barkin show with Jim is Jim hates Daniel Jones, and the Blackhawks are on this 10-year
rebuild. That's correct.
All over plan. Is that?
I'm sure there's more, but that's your main
more
point right now. So
that's what we got right now. That's
Gino's back in the game here.
Yeah,
he is. He's back. He's been back. So
he's not moving that well. Didn't look like it.
He's fine.
Yeah,
he'll be all right.
Just shake it up. Rub
Jim,
some dirt
I appreciate you guys. Go check out Jim at Full Press Coverage. That podcast up there. He has a couple shows there. Always catch him here at Let's Talk Sports on Puckett. Look, great stuff as always, Jim. Always appreciate you every Monday.
I love you. It's great. Always a pleasure, guys. Always a pleasure to be here on Monday night with my Maniacs. I'm missing a couple, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Remember whose game is it? LA Night. Yeah. Guys, enjoy. Have a good one. We'll be back again. I'll be back again next week.
We'll catch you next Monday. See you, Jim.
Take care.
Peace out, gentlemen.
See
bye-bye.
Boy, that was kind of a downer way to end it, though. I mean, gee whiz. It was like
hands down on Mahomes.
Talking about Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
I know. I don't know. I like good energy, and that was just like
that just ruined
like
it.
he was kicking him while he was down. You know, we're like, yeah, Daniel Jones is just awful, bro.
Well, you know, we're gonna be talking about down energy in the beginning here of this segment. So,
oh yeah. Next up on the Let's Talk Sports show, Jonathan Grisham. He'll be able to get a word in edgewise because Nick Botkins is not here. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Let's welcome in the great Jonathan Grishman. What's up, Coach?
All right, what is the deal with this here? So Nick's not here tonight?
Yep.
So I went and got a damn Packer shirt to fulfill my bet with him, and he's not even here. I went and got this stupid yellow shirt.
He's setting you up.
Hey, y'all know
he's setting you up, Jonathan.
This counts to that one.
It does count because we're witnesses right here. We're witnesses.
The hell, the nerve of him.
Yep.
Just because his Cubs got eliminated,
and the Packers
got their ass kicked. He wanted to talk about me during the summer when the Cubs beat the Braves in Chicago in July. He wants to come after me about avoiding. Disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
Jonathan, we have put an ad out on Indeed for a new host for the Let's Talk Sports show. So,
Scott, I'm right here, bro. I'm right here. Anyway, so the guy that's quiet when Jonathan's explaining something. I'm right here.
I feel that like this is burning me right now. Like this is horrible. This ugly color.
Like you get an itch everywhere, you know?
Dude, like I feel like I got chicken pox right now. This is so bad.
Do you have chicken pox when you're thinking about your Saints offense?
No, I got hives when I watch that offense. It's just as bad as watching LSU's defense this past weekend.
Yes.
I don't know what was worse. Like, and that's
Jonathan has admitted if he could take LSU's offense and the Saints defense and put it together, no problems.
We'd win championships. Yep. We'd be the best team in the NFL. We'd be the best team in college football right now.
Correct.
You know, it's absolutely insane to be able to watch. Which again, for 15 years, we saw New Orleans Saints offense just absolutely break records and torch people. Now we came in and scored we came and score one touchdown, let alone touchdowns. And then we watched the LSU's defense, which was known for physicality, known for just absolutely balling DBU, defensive line that are in the NFL every year. And we see that I think they calculated out it was 28 missed tackles.
28?
That was calculated out by LSU's coaching staff. 28 missed tackles that accumulated over 200 yards for Ole Miss. That is unacceptable.
I watched that whole game, LSU and Mississippi. It was on at 6 o'clock on ESPN. So before I switched over to the Air Force game, I watched that whole game. Their defense, it's one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. It is really bad.
So
I don't know.
So interesting aspect. I got a buddy of mine who's very close with some of the people at LSU's athletic department. Let's just say the D coordinator for LSU. It was his daughter plays Little League softball. It was very uncomfortable for him to be at his daughter's game with all the LSU fans in Baton Rouge. It was very uncomfortable for him. So. Yeah, and my response was when I got told that was, yes, that was unacceptable. That was absolutely unacceptable. LSU fans will come after you if you don't perform, especially against Ole Miss. We don't lose to Ole Miss. We're not supposed to lose to Ole Miss. That is one game that you're not supposed to lose to. And for them to set records like that, 700 yards of offense, that's atrocious. Yeah. Absolutely atrocious.
It's rough, man. It's such a rough go.
Yeah, I mean, I know every team has a weakness someplace. Did Brian Kelly just say, "I'm going to go out and get a bunch of offensive toys and forget the defense"? I'm just gonna allow it to. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Is he went to the offensive side and said, "Okay, I'm going to get all these wide receivers and this quarterback and this stud talent, and then they figure out the defense later." I don't know.
The issue again, there is talent on that defense. I mean, again, Harold Perkins. But the problem is you turn Harold Perkins, who was one of the best pass rushers in college football last season, you put him as an off-ball linebacker, which he's not. He does not do. He's never done it before. They told him in high school, attack, go get the quarterback, go get the ball. That's what he did in high school, and he did that last season. And he was the All-American freshman. Now he's just a body. They absolutely changed, and the thought process of it makes no sense because they said we're putting him off the ball like this to increase his value for when he goes to the NFL. Yeah. I'm sorry. Last time I checked, pass rushers make more money than off-ball linebackers. They make more money. The linebackers want to be essentially pass rusher defensive ends in 3-4 defenses. They want to be pass rushers because they know they'll get $20 million. Whereas off-the-ball linebackers are going to make $14 million. So it made no sense. And then, Mason Smith is still coming back from his ACL injury. He was one of the best D linemen we have with Mekhi Wingo as well. The issue for LSU is there's nobody in the secondary. This is DBU. And there is not a good cornerback that we have currently on this roster. The safeties are too soft. I mean, there's go back to the LSU defenses that people feared. Physicality was the biggest characteristic of LSU defenses. The secondary was the one that started it with guys like LaRon Landry, guys like Craig Stelz, guys like Jamal Adams. I mean, those guys that just you feel it. You get hit by those guys, and you feel it a week later. You still feel it. There's nobody on this defense that provides that. There's no physicality. There was a couple of runs I saw that the cornerback stopped and just let the receiver go for Ole Miss, and he got 20 extra yards. But I'm sitting there thinking, what are you like? Throw your body, do something.
He did stop. I remember seeing that. Yeah,
that was in the fourth quarter where you needed a stop. You needed a stop to win the game, and he let him run by. That doesn't happen for LSU. So there's issues right now, and again, I can't go into detail as far as what I know because it's what I was promised but there's some issues in-house again at LSU within the athletic department and the coaching staff and whatnot. There's issues again. I can't go into full detail, but it's a mess right now with the football program. Again, with the other sports, women's basketball is obviously thriving. Baseball is obviously thriving. For some reason, the football program has this stench about instability. And it's kind of continuing with Brian Kelly right now until they can get that figured out. This is kind of like we'll be a really good team. We're just not going to be a championship team until they can at least address the elephant in the room.
Yeah, and they're paying Brian Kelly an exorbitant amount to be there.
They're still paying Ed Orgeron. They're still paying Ed Orgeron too right now.
Yeah, so they're paying a lot of money to their football head coaches, one which is not there anymore. And they're getting these results. I mean, on defense, 55 points to Ole Miss. Come on, really? Ole Miss they can't score 55 points by themselves.
You can't do that to Ole Miss. You can't do that. You can't do that against Ole Miss. You certainly can't do that against Lane Kiffin. As much as I despise Lane Kiffin, dude's a freaking prick. But you can't let him do that to you. You can't let Ole Miss do that to you, and then expect confidence going into the rest of the season, especially with Alabama still, late in November, still around the corner, a month away from now. So, I don't know. I don't know where we go right now, especially with the offense. Jaden Daniels should be in the conversation for a Heisman Trophy, but he's not going to get the consideration. He's not going to get the consideration because they're not going to win enough games and be highlighted enough for him. You have so much talent on the offense side. They're moving the ball. My goodness gracious, you should have won this game if you just got a couple stops. Ole Miss got a couple stops. That was the difference. They got big stops. We did, and there was a difference in the ball game.
How much? Well, I guess what's the thought here going into this upcoming weekend here? You got undefeated Mizzou, who's looked good at times, looked bad at times, but they're still pulling out the dubs. Now you're going against a 5-0 confident Mizzou club. With LSU coming off that loss,
you got to find a way to answer the bell. I don't really know what we do from here. I don't really know where we go until they change and then they make a change, just personnel wise, players, and put them in the position to execute. I don't know what's going to be different. Mizzou, I don't see as high powered as what we saw with Ole Miss. So I'm not. If we give up over 450 yards of offense to Mizzou, somebody needs to lose their job.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that. You give up 40 points to Mizzou as a shootout again, somebody got to lose their job because that's just we're border. There was a reporter or one of the beat writers for LSU. They said after the game, never thought I'd see a defense be just as bad, if not worse, than the 2020 Bo Pelini defense we had, which set records for LSU. And that's where we're kind of at right now with this group. I don't think we're there yet. If you give up 450 yards and 40 points to Mizzou, yes, I think we're there then. And if that's the case, again, somebody has to lose their job.
Yeah.
By far. Like, oh, wow. Wow. You said that name with that record.
Goodbye. Seattle just returned. Seattle. They just returned a fumble, 90-something yards.
Daniel Jones fumbled?
I think so.
Intercepted.
Yeah.
There's an interception.
Intercepted?
Daniel Jones threw an interception. Oh, yeah. Look at him run free. like a gazelle in the savannah.
Classic.
making his way.
Classic. Let's talk about the other NFL team in the room, huh? Let's talk about it. Derek Carr ended up playing for the Saints. He ended up playing, which I was very surprised to see him
With
out
a shoulder injury. Yeah.
Did it mean anything though after seeing what you saw?
I'll go to the same direction I just talked about with LSU's defense. Coaching's got to get better. There's so much. Derek, you can see Derek has no trust in the offensive line, and that's probably the more disappointing part of the offense wise is that they can't protect Carr. This is not a bad offensive line. I mean, you have Ryan Ramczyk, who has been, for 6 years, one of the best right tackles in the game. You have Eric McCoy, who's a good center. You have good pieces on the O-line, but he doesn't trust them. He's getting hit, and he's being pressured almost with 4-man rushes. He's getting pressured. So you can see he's got happy feet. His eyes are not downfield as long enough to where you can let Olave get work. You can let Rashid Shaheed get work. And they're not utilizing Thomas and what his strengths are. His strengths are 5 to 15 yards. They're having him run 12 to 18 yard routes. So I don't understand the play calling for Pete Carmichael and what he's doing right now. And it's been stale. The lack of creativity to get guys open is more of a problem than Derek Carr right now. I think Derek Carr is a product of bad play call with the O-line a little bit shaky. Was I happy that he played? Yes. Did he give us a chance? Did he give us the best chance to win a game? I think so. Yes. I think he was a better chance than what Jameis could have done for us. I know Jameis is healthy, and then Carr probably wasn't. But Carr's throwing the ball. He threw the ball fine. I didn't notice any lack of arm strength. He was throwing the ball fine downfield. He was hitting. Accuracy was a little bit off. Mechanics were probably a little bit forced on certain passes, but he was still moving the ball. He was still able to throw it downfield. So I don't really put it and say that Carr shouldn't have played. He was healthy. He played. He did fine. But again, there's bigger issues right now, and I think that the coaching staff, the same thing. You cannot score 9 points and score. I don't think we scored 20 points in a game yet. So that you can't win. You can't win in the NFL. In today's NFL, you can't do that without scoring 20 points and expect to win every game. Let your defense. So you're wearing out your defense right now, and that showed again this past weekend. It showed again yesterday. This defense, which is one of the tops in the NFL, in my opinion, and they're starting to get run through because they're on the field too much because the offense is not moving the ball and taking and being able to put points on the board when you need them to put points on.
So where the status
is right? Oh yeah, go ahead, Scott, with your stats.
So where the status are in the whole NFL Sunday. Alvin Kamara, 13 catches, 33 yards. It's like you're just throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage and say, Alvin, go make a play. And there's 3 defenders standing there waiting for the guy to come to him. Yeah.
You're forced to throw behind the.
And Chris Olave got 2 targets and 1 catch for 4 yards. He didn't try to stretch the field, so that tells me that Derek Carr's shoulder was not ready to play on Sunday. Did he do fine? Yes, but he's throwing these stinking dunks instead.
Now, Scott, going back to another topic, guys, of what happened with Buffon and Botkins, right? Last year, Jonathan was saying that it felt like Dennis Allen was having this team as a continuation of what Sean Payton was, essentially his regime and everything, instead of having his own kind of mentality, his own locker room, essentially. Are we still seeing that, Jonathan? Is that what we're going into a issue now? Is that, hey, we're almost a year and a half in, and we're still seeing the same kind of thing?
Yes and no. To the offensive side of the ball, yes, because Carmichael is still in there. You're still trying to run Sean Payton's offense without Sean being the one who's calling the plays. Sean calls plays when he's head coach. He's calling plays in Denver right now. Pete is trying to run that same offense without the understanding and creativity to be able to take advantage and be able to understand mismatches. That's the thing. What Sean did with Drew Brees was, I have a mismatch. I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to make sure you give me that mismatch. When you put guys in motion, when you're able to line up guys in certain areas, we haven't seen that. Again, put Kamara out wide a little bit more. We saw that at times with Pierre Thomas. We saw that at times with Reggie Bush when Sean Payton. use Kamara. Kamara is one of the best pass-catching running backs in the league. Put him out wide a little bit more. Create mismatches. Utilize your guys a little bit more. We don't see that with Pete. Pete's trying to run the same offense that Sean runs without the understanding of how to run it. And it's like I said, lack of creativity, and it's lack of understanding. That is the last puzzle piece of the Sean Payton regime of New Orleans, other than Dennis Allen being the head coach, because the defense side of the ball, Dennis brought in his guys. He's got his defensive coordinator. He's working his defense, his secondary coach, his linebacker coach. He's got his guys running the defense side. You still have Sean Payton guys running the offensive side right now. And that's where I think a disconnect still until and again, the focus was we want continuity, we want stability, but you're not providing what you want as a head coach if you're running somebody else's scheme. And it's still that way this year. And you're seeing the main guy who created the offense not being there. It doesn't work that way. Get somebody, and that's why he did bring John Gruden in a few times in training camp to, I guess, in a way to get a little bit more of his own concepts, or something that he wanted John's concepts to be brought in. But you can't. You're not a baker. You're not bringing in different ingredients. Hey, we're going to run Sean's system with John Gruden's system. We're going to try to mix and match and see if it doesn't work.
Don't work like
it doesn't work that way.
It don't work like that at all.
And so that's where, again, at some point, and I think this is Pete Carmichael's last year in New Orleans, because I do think he'll end up going to Denver next year and be with Sean again, or Pete may just retire as well. But this might be Pete's last year in New Orleans, where Dennis will get one more. He'll get one more chance after if let's just say this season kind of tanks and we miss the playoffs again, which will be very disappointing, because this was supposed to be our division. We were supposed to win this division. We had the best team. We had the most talent. We, on paper, had the best quarterback. If you don't win this division when the division is down as it is, that's a very disappointing look. And that might be Dennis Allen being on the hot seat in 2024, but they're going to let him bring in his offensive coordinator that he wants. If it fails again, he's out of a job at that point. That's my opinion on it. But they're going to give him a chance. But I think you have to make a change at OC to say, Dennis, you need your guy. Who do you want running your offense and putting together the system that you think is going to be successful? You cannot run somebody else's system, just like you learned that last year. You can't run the program that somebody's not in-house with.
Yeah. No, you said it perfectly.
Agreed.
I'd be, depending where the season results in, right? I think if you're like third or fourth place for some reason in this horrendous division, I could see Allen. I could see him gone. I don't think he gets a third if you're in that range. If you're in contention for winning towards the end, then yes. But I think in this kind of division, I think if you're not in contention coming in December, it might be adios.
If they win six, let's say they win 6 games. Let's just say if they win 6 games this season, I agree. I absolutely agree. If they are 8 and 9,
good with it.
They're gonna keep him one more year, because that's the MO of Miss Benson, of Gail Benson, the owner. She prefers stability. She's not somebody who's gonna just cut bait immediately. She gives opportunities. She gives them a chance. Gives guys a chance to work through the issues to try to turn it around. So unless the season absolutely is just god awful, and we win 5 or 6 games, that'd be the only way I could see Dennis Allen is out of a job. If they win 8 games, they're right on the cusp, again in second or third place, but they're a game out of a wild card spot. They'll give Dennis Allen a chance one more year and say, fire Pete, bring in your OC, and now you lose all excuses that well, it's not my system, it's not this, that's gone. You have nothing. You have no scapegoats anymore. Yep. So pick your guy, make sure you're good with who you want to run it, and then you better go win that.
Do you think it's also a dependency of how Olave is ended up being his results for him as a player? Because obviously they look very highly upon him as the Saints, and Derek Carr has that supposed to have the connection. Do you think anything to do with Olave and the results that might also help whether Allen stays or not?
No, because that'll fall on Pete Carmichael. That'll still fall on Pete.
Yeah.
Because Dennis, even though he's the head coach, he's still he's the guy on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Pete's running the offense. So if Olave's development kind of slows because this season's just atrocious, that's going to fall on Pete Carmichael. That's going to fall on the coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball. So that's the scapegoat. That is the scapegoat for this coaching staff for Dennis Allen right now, is that you have somebody who you retained, but you didn't hire. And so if things kind of get sour on the offensive side, that's the scapegoat of this season. And there's already questions. New Orleans media was already questioning about potential coaching changes right now. And he's being indirectly direct about it. Kind of just saying, we're not considering a change because it's too early for that. So indirectly, directly answering the questions, but he's already starting to feel the heat that a change needs to occur, and which that happens to a head coach. His seat's going to get hotter as we get closer and closer to that point.
There you go. Alan does have a comment. Are the Bucks the favorite now in the South? I think they're in contention. I wouldn't say anybody's the favorite, though. I don't think anybody's the favorite.
It's a coin flip right now. I think it's a coin flip right now just because, again, do you still trust Baker? I know Baker played good again. He didn't make the mistake that we
minimize mistakes, right? As long as that defense is healthy, I think that's where your key is. Giving Baker the opportunity to head back out there, let them run the ball, Rachaad White, and minimize your mistakes. That's all you got to do.
And that was the one thing I was waiting for in that game before it got out of hand was, when is Baker going to make the mistake? When are we going to take advantage of the mistake? And credit to Baker, he didn't make it. He took care of the ball and he gave his team a chance, and they made a play or two here and there, and they won the game. I'm not going to sit here and say they're the favorites right now. Right now, I think it's a little too early. I think it's a coin flip now. But Baker, if Baker plays if he can play like he did yesterday, consistently, then. Yeah, I could see you say Tampa would be the favorites of this division now.
Look at what Brock Purdy is doing with the 49ers. Just don't play turnover ball. Turnover free ball, and you let your team take care of you. You got the weapons. Godwin's out there, Evans out there. Rachaad White's looking really good too. Just don't turn the ball over. Whatever you do, just don't do it, and you'll be fine.
There's only two teams in the South that in my mind can win the division. That's Tampa Bay, New Orleans, because Atlanta doesn't have a quarterback. They just don't. Desmond Ridder is not a guy that can lead them to the title. So
you want to talk about bad offenses, though? I mean, I messaged Allen, during that game in the morning. I'm going, my God, this is atrocious. Just absolutely horrible play calling. And everything. So, it's a two. I agree. I think it's going to be a two-team race. Tampa and New Orleans, which we've seen. Tampa comes and beats Saints in New Orleans in the Superdome, and Saints will go to Tampa and beat them in Tampa. So that's what I'm saying. This division is not a given to Tampa just yet. It's a coin flip. We'll see. We'll probably see the Saints kind of get it figured out later in the year when they play Tampa at Raymond James, and you can see the Saints steal that game away from them. So this is still very wide open.
No doubt. Baker hasn't had that 3 or 4 game stretch yet where it's coming with Baker, where he just does not play good football. He turns it over. He doesn't make right decisions, and that's the key to New Orleans taking the division away from him, is that 3 or 4 game stretch. That's what I think is coming.
Actually, I think that's a good point there too, of the 3 game stretch coming in. So
I think the thing for the Saints, and I'm kind of got their schedule right here. We're kind of saying it was supposed to be a very easy, not a very easy schedule, but it was supposed to be an easier type of schedule. But Texans, that might not be an easy game, right? Texans look like they're playing pretty well. Jaguars are still a good team. That's gonna be a tough game. Colts can be a tough team, to play against. What else we got? Lions, we know that's gonna be a tough one. Rams can be a tough game. I mean, this schedule's not as easy as it was predicted to be in preseason. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the season turns around, if they can get this offense going a little bit better. Because I was thinking the first preseason game, the first drive, we saw Derek Carr lead the offense, score a touchdown. We're like, oh my God, this is going to be great. And now we're saying that we can't score a touchdown in the regular season. We scored one touchdown drive by Derek Carr in the preseason equals out to one touchdown so far, or a couple, I guess 2 touchdowns we've seen in the regular season right now, which can't do that. Cannot do that.
Agree. Well, it's to come for New
the Saints
Orleans.
got a layup this week coming. They play the Patriots. They got a layup this week coming.
No Gonzalez, no Judon. Oh, that defense is
no shot. No
it's hurt.
Scott, is Zappy starting?
No, Mac Jones is.
You know as well as I do, though, Scott. Saints do not play well in New England. We just for some reason when we play New England in New England, we don't know what we're doing. We have no idea. We saw that was it Drew Brees second to last year, and we were favored to win the game, and
he came up here and laid an egg.
Brady Brady'd us, and we couldn't do anything. We couldn't stop them, and we couldn't score in the second half. So crazy things happen to us in New England. I'm not calling it a layup. I'm a little bit nervous for that game right now.
Well, I think the thing is, if the Saints score 14 points, I don't think the Patriots can get there, and that's a huge statement to say because Mac Jones has no confidence right now. Bill O'Brien calls plays. I don't think he has any confidence in what he's calling that Mac Jones can execute it. So I think there's a lot of dissension going on in the offense right now, and I don't think they're going to be ready to play because they're not featuring Ramondre Stevenson, and maybe they have to start. But they're not. Bill loves Zeke, so Zeke's getting more run than he should be. So,
I got Stevenson on one of my fantasy teams. I'm not very happy about that. But is this Belichick's last year? Do we think this is Belichick's last year?
GM.
So, as the GM for sure, I think as the guy that's controlling, I think Kraft's going to tell him he needs to get an assistant, or he's just going to take it away from him. As a coach, depending on how the season goes, let's see how close he is to the Shula record. Because I don't think Kraft wants to get rid of him and then he go to another spot and break that record. I think Kraft wants him to break the record up here in New England. So let's see how close he is.
So let's say he doesn't. Let's say he's 4 games away from breaking. I don't know where he's at on the record, how far away he is from it. Let's just say he's winning 4. Season ends. You bring him back just to win 4 more games?
Yeah, I mean it's a tough question. I mean he has lost a lot off the coaching fastball, so to speak. He doesn't have control of that team anymore. Guys that are in the locker room who never talked before are now talking. You just lost your 2 best defensive players in Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez.
Yep,
it's really if they win 3 more games this season, I'd be a little bit surprised.
I mean, we're kind of seeing the Patriot way, how it's run by assistants everywhere else. We're kind of seeing the Patriot way may not be the right way here in 2023 anymore.
The Patriot way was number 12. That was the Patriot way. It was number 12.
You're kind of seeing that with Sean Payton right now. Sean Payton, I mean, 1-3 right now. Had to have a come from behind win against the Chicago Bears, and Sean's still a Hall of Fame coach, but number 9 for him under center did a lot of work for him. So we're kind of seeing a little bit of that. The Russell Wilson is not Drew Brees, and we're kind of seeing that right now that maybe Sean, isn't as great as we all thought. Maybe it was Drew Brees a lot of the time.
Yeah, maybe in the end, it was your quarterback. Weird. Huh. Hey, let's dig into it, guys.
Yeah.
Playoff baseball is here. It is October. We're in the month, and it starts tomorrow. Excited for it. I did not end up going to Milwaukee this week, but hopefully I can get up there when hopefully they play next week here against either the Dodgers, most likely. So, but we'll see. Well, let's break it down. I want to break down some games. So in case you're not aware and you're not caught up in baseball world, because there is football going on, I'm sure it's confusing people. ALDS, so you got the Astros at 2. They have a bye. The Orioles out number 1 overall for the American League side. They have a bye. The National League side, you have the Dodgers at 2 and Jonathan's Atlanta Braves sitting at the 1 overall. So those 4 teams are not playing currently these next 3 days. So you have the wild card series where it's best 2 out of 3, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday if needed for teams here. So we're gonna break down these games here with Jonathan. That way we can get his thoughts, his perspective as well.
So real quick, did y'all hear what the Braves are doing during this week off until the wild card's over?
Nah.
They're bringing the Gwinnett Stripers, the AAA team, they're bringing them to Atlanta to do inter-squad games this week to kind of stay on regiment.
That's awesome.
And play. So all the AAA guys, they're going to play in Atlanta, playing against the big league guys and keeping them fresh because which genius because you sat around last year, in the bye week, you had normal practices, but your rhythm was thrown off. So they have today off. They're playing tomorrow, playing Wednesday, playing Friday, and then playing Thursday, having normal practice like it's a travel day on Friday, and then they're playing Saturday for the game 1. So that they're in a 3-game series against Gwinnett to kind of keep things rolling from there.
That's smart.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Totally smart.
So let's break it down, guys. Let's break it down. Day 1's tomorrow. Excited for the series here. Let's start here on the AL side of things here. You got Rangers at Tampa Bay. You have Montgomery and Glasnow going in this matchup here. If you look at their series head-to-head, they are even in the win-loss. So 5-5 in this here. Your most recent is Tampa Rangers. So Tampa win the series. Break it down for me, Jonathan. What are we looking at here for this series? Series technically for Texas and Tampa.
Well, like I've said with Scott and Alan, I've said with you guys as well, the American League side of this bracket is going to be offensive focused more so than we've ever seen before. And this series, I think, is going to be the lead example of how this is going to break down because as good as Texas is offensively and as good as Tampa is offensively, the pitching staffs have taken huge injury hits. DeGrom, Scherzer, I know Scherzer has been kind of throwing again. I don't think we're going to see him in the wild card right now. But you lose DeGrom, you've lost Scherzer. Tampa, you've lost McClanahan. You've had injuries throughout. So the pitching staffs have been hit hard, but the offenses are still rolling and still producing. So we're going to see probably a high scoring series, which we don't normally see in postseason play. It's mostly pitching rules in the postseason, but we don't see that. I don't think we're going to have that be a factor. You have a good pitching matchup, in game 1. But the focus is going to be the offenses for both clubs, and I think that's going to be the case in all in this entire series if it goes 3. And I do think it'll go 3 games because this is a pretty evenly matched series. Texas does have a more proficient offense than Tampa, but Tampa can score and they do things. They can do a lot of things. They can hit with power. They can spray the ball around the field. They can manufacture runs. Are they going to be able to keep up with the high-powered Rangers offense? That's going to be the big question. I think they will. And I think they'll pitch better overall when it matters most. I give this series an edge to Tampa. Sorry, Alan. I know you're listening. Everything it's going to represent your Rangers, but I'm going to give the edge slightly in 3 games to Tampa.
Well, if you look at here, Jordan Montgomery's last 5 starts, he's 2-3, but a nice ERA of 1.4. He did pitch every game 6+ except for the September 8th Oakland loss in that one there. So, let me fix this real quick. I want to bring Jonathan back up top because I like him being the spotlight instead of anybody else.
Damn Sam.
It's all right. You understand dad life, man. Dad life.
Yeah.
With them.
Yeah.
So, but you got you have Montgomery out there. Losses to Seattle most recently, the 28th there, a 3-2 loss there, where he did give up 5 hits, 1 earned run. And then Boston was also a loss, and of course Oakland in that one. Glasnow 3-2. Their last, his last 5, 3, right on the dot, a 3 ERA for that. Their average innings pitched is 5 though. It's 4. He went 5, 5, and 4 his last 3 starts, with victories only over Toronto in that one. No, sorry, only over Boston in his last start. He lost to Toronto, lost to Baltimore in this one. So, I mean, I think you're right. I think pitching in this matchup is not going to be a thing. There is a bet out there for this, over under the series going 3 essentially, so 2.5. I hit the over in this one because I feel like it's going to be a back and forth matchup. You're going to see teams coming to playoff ball, which is when I say that, I mean you're going to get those situations. You're going to really see the situational ball come into effect here for Tampa. Tampa loves to play that kind of ball. They played it last year the same way and the year before that. They love to play the smart half of it, but they're going to be very aggressive at the same time. I like Tampa here in this series just because they seem to be like the most consistent team. And also, they're not coming off a battering ram of a schedule that Texas had to face just to stay in the playoff hunt, which I think might hurt them later down the road if they get past this matchup.
Yeah, I agree. And the matchup in Game 1 does favor, as you kind of went through the numbers, it does favor Texas. As far as with Montgomery over Glasnow. Glasnow, his postseason experience, he hasn't had a lot of great experience. He's pitched 9 games, his 2-5 record with a 5.75 ERA. Not a lot of success on that. His WHIP is a 1.40, which that's a good number. Whereas Montgomery, he only has 2 games pitched in the postseason, but he's had a 1.35 ERA in 6 2/3 innings. I guess that was more of relief appearances that he's been utilized mostly in, with a 1.65 WHIP. So experience versus not experience, Glasnow versus Montgomery. But again, how valuable is bad experience for Glasnow? And he has a chance because the hype that he was supposed to have for this pitching staff, he hasn't answered that bell. You want to kind of turn yourself around and turn your career around. You got to win Game 1. So it does favor Montgomery. And I know the numbers as far as how Montgomery's pitched in recent games in the last few hasn't been great. So I think you're going to see. I think you'll see a lot of runs scored, high-scoring offensive game. Probably both pitchers may not go 4 innings. I think it's going to get to that point, and that's postseason ball. You cannot leave guys in if they're getting shelled, which I think these guys are going to. You're going to see bullpens get thrown in early, and that may favor Tampa more so than the Rangers, because the Rangers bullpen has just been atrocious this season. And we hear Allen's crying about the bullpen for Texas all season. So, but I think if it goes down to that point, it's a bullpen game in Game 1 because both starters have just kind of struggled. I think that does favor Tampa in Game 1. But as far as overall starting pitching wise for Game 1, I'm just on paper, I'm leaning with the Rangers with Montgomery over Glasnow.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Scott, what do you got, man?
I've been off of Texas for the last half of the year simply because their bullpen has given away too many games. And I think it's putting what's happened now is the starters have had to throw more pitches in games because I don't think Bruce Bochy even has confidence that bullpen can do it. Chapman's hasn't been locked down since he got traded to Texas, basically. No. I don't know what they're doing with that bullpen. Bruce Bochy still wants to stick Will Smith in that closer spot. Now he's trying Leclerc in that closer spot. I just don't have any confidence that the Rangers can beat Tampa in a 3-game quick series. So I'm going to favor Tampa Bay in this series. And I think tomorrow afternoon is a huge start for Montgomery. If he doesn't win that start, it's going to be a quick 2-game, and that's it. It's going to be done. So Montgomery has to go out, throw 7 innings, and win this game tomorrow. If he doesn't, Tampa's going to win the series 2 games. So.
Very nice. It is a 3:08 Eastern afternoon game tomorrow, guys. So make sure you guys tune in. Of course, I got my alerts already set up for these games here. Granted, I'll be at practice for the one I want to watch, and the one I will watch at the end will be the other game I want to watch. So it's just how life happens, right? Let's stay in the AL side, guys. We'll go up here. Toronto at Minnesota. Another could be a pretty entertaining series. Another one I think can go over 2.5. on the series games here. You have Gossman versus Lopez in this matchup here. If we take a look here, 5-5, once again, a very even series all year long between these teams. You look at the pitching wise, 3-2 for Gossman, 1.60 ERA, a 5.2 average, and then Lopez with 3-2 as well, 2.4 ERA, but a 5.2. So none of these guys going super long in their starts either. Rough losses, of course, in this range. But Jonathan, what we got here in this Minnesota-Toronto series?
So this is the opposite of what I said about the, or at least the social experiment. That's what I've been calling it for the American League post side of the bracket. Is, as I said, I think it's going to be more offensive based. The only one who can actually counter that and say no, pitching still is a premium in postseason play is the Minnesota Twins. They have probably the best pitching staff in the postseason with the Lopez and Sonny Gray leading the charge and who have put up good numbers for you. Whereas, again, Toronto has been very inconsistent with their pitching staff and have been riding the wave of their offense. So pitching versus offense is going to be the big factor in this series. If Toronto can absolutely tee off, which they are capable of doing, if they can hit this pitching staff for the Twins, the starting pitchers, and knock out Lopez early, because we know Sonny Gray is going game 2 for the Twins. But if you can get to Lopez early, knock him out, that tells you that'll be my social experiment that I'm putting out there, saying that offense is the focal point of the postseason, and this is the pitching versus offense. So if the Twins can shut down this lineup, maybe the Twins can be dangerous. And
Scott just injured too much. There's too much injury.
There is.
Right now. They're hurt beyond belief right now.
There is, but again, that's where is pitching still a major factor. And if Pablo Lopez can pitch, and again, if it's 2-1, 2-1, 3-2 type of ball game, it's favoring the Twins. If it goes above 4 or 5 runs, I don't think they can score. That's kind of where your point was on that. So if the pitching can hold, and as I said, I don't like complimenting the Twins. The fact that I put them in my power rankings last for September again, I absolutely hate myself for doing it, and I'm complimenting them right now about it. And it still makes this is a bad night. I'm wearing this shirt and I'm complimenting the Minnesota Twins right now. What is going on?
I know what's wrong with you.
Kind of shows.
But I was if Lopez can go 6 or 7 and it's a low scoring game, Twins have a shot. Yeah. If the Twins have to score 4 or 5 runs, there's no chance. So it's a matter of Lopez setting the tone, which I'm a little surprised they're going to Lopez game 1. I would have gone Sonny Gray and say I'm throwing my ace to make sure we have a chance and get a 1-game lead because going into game 2, then I throw Lopez because I have the advantage. If Twins win, let's say if Gray pitched, Twins win, you throw Lopez who has pitched better than Berrios, who's going for game 2 for the Blue Jays. Now I have the pitching advantage. So I don't understand throwing Lopez if you had an offense that can match Toronto, I get it then. But you don't. So interesting dynamic. I'm curious to see how it works and how it goes. But this is the experiment: offense versus pitching. Who wins this series? If it's a high scoring series, Toronto wins. If it's a low scoring series, Minnesota wins.
Yeah. I mean, how big is it that injuries are going to affect this team in the end for Minnesota? I think that might be where you hit game 3. And that's the part that really kills you in the end. That's the thing. What do you got, Scott, for this?
I'm going to hate myself for saying this, but I think pitching wins out in this series. I just think that, Gossman's been really good. I get it. But I just think that Minnesota is going to have enough in the pitching realm. And Toronto, sometimes their offense struggles against good pitching. And I agree with John that Pablo Lopez could put up a really good start. Then Minnesota has a clear-cut advantage in game 2 with Sonny Gray on the mound. So I'm going to pick Minnesota in this series. I think Minnesota can win this in 2 or 3. I think that the pitching's going to win out. I think Toronto's inconsistency on the offensive end against really solid pitching will hurt them in the end. So I like Minnesota in this series.
I'll give a pick. because I'm buying into the thought that offense is going to be the top focus this postseason in the American League. I'm going to go Toronto. I think Toronto's offense will get it figured out, and they're going to score. They're just going to outscore Minnesota, and I think Toronto wins this series.
Yeah, that's the way Toronto wins the series, is by mashing it.
It's going to be Toronto winning the series, and it's going to be because they hit the bullpen of Minnesota at late in games, and that's where all finishes out. So that is a 4:38 Eastern start tomorrow.
I'm mad at Major League because I said this. I guess it was back in when did I have the Twins in July? I guess I had the Twins in my top 10.
Yeah, you did.
I said if the Twins win this division, put them at the early game. Don't even put it at 2:00. Put it at noon, so nobody watches such bad baseball. And we're going to kind of have that again. Major League Baseball didn't listen to me, which shocker. Nobody wants to listen to me, but interesting series. But again, it's like I said, the dynamic's going to be offense pitching. I'm intrigued. Will I watch? Probably not.
I might tune in towards the end of my workday. I won't get the whole thing, but I'll tune in. So let's go to the NL side of things here. We have Arizona at Milwaukee. Burns is starting for Milwaukee. Fat. Is it Fat? I can't remember how you say his last name. Pfaadt.
I'm not sure.
Fat. There you go. Fat.
Yeah.
Spot. Milwaukee being one of the hottest teams since the LA Dodgers series for whatever reason woke them up. Outside of the Braves, just dominating people, of course. 6-4 head-to-head. Arizona leads this series for the year. You have Fought at 2-3 with a 2.6 ERA, 4.1 average innings pitched. So he has a 5, a 4, a 5, a 3, and a 4 his last 5 games. Then you have Corbin Burns going at it. By the way, Woodruff is hurt. He is currently medical. They don't even know if he'll pitch this in playoffs. So that's something to think about too. He did it. He felt something wrong in the Marlins series, and then he was playing catch, and it's officially he's like, yeah, I gotta check this out. It's not good. So Burns 3-2. His last 5, 1.6 ERA, of 5.2 average inning, 4, 5, 5, 8, and a 6 in this play here. So look, this is going to be a fun one. I'll be at practice, of course, during this game because I do want to watch in case you don't see my logo. It is a Brewers logo. So hoping for the best so I can go watch some baseball next week versus the Dodgers. But, Jonathan, break it down for us. Arizona, Milwaukee, what we got?
I've enjoyed watching the Diamondbacks make their run this year, and they actually finished the job, which I actually kind of didn't think they were going to make the postseason, be a wild card team. But the Cinderella story is what they are. Milwaukee is one of the hot teams going into the postseason. Again, as we've said before, and I've said with you guys, I said it on Tuesdays, the best teams are not always the teams that win. It's the hottest team. Well, in this series, the best team is the hot team as well. And that favors Milwaukee. And I think even with Woodruff possibly not pitching this postseason, you do have an advantage in the pitching staff. You're deeper pitching-wise than what Arizona is. And I think the experience, this is still an experienced team in the postseason. You have guys who play the postseason, whereas you don't have many on Arizona's team. I'm looking at it. Longoria, Gurriel, that might, Pham, I think maybe a couple appearances here and there. You don't have a lot of postseason experience that are in Arizona. So a team that's better, a team that's hotter, and a team that's more experienced is all the same in this series, and that favors Milwaukee more so. And I think that's going to be a factor. And again, you're throwing a pitcher who hasn't had good numbers this season, 3-9 total record, 19 games, 5.72 ERA. Not a confident. I don't. Again, it's kind of the same thing. I don't understand why you don't throw Zach Gallen here. Throw your ace against their ace and try to give yourself a chance to win. Because if you don't win this game, you're behind the 8 ball anyway. So what is Zach Gallen pitching on game 2 going to really do for you in that case to try to go to game 3? Well, your pitching's not as deep as Milwaukee. So try to win game 1 with your ace. So I'm not sure I get the thought process of not having Gallen pitch against Burns, because if you have Gallen pitch, I think you have an advantage because Gallen's pitched much better overall this year, being a Cy Young candidate, than what Burns has throughout this season. Burns is still a really good pitcher, not taking anything away from him, but Gallen has been a Cy Young candidate this year. So in this case, with the pitching matchup, it's a clear cut favorable to Milwaukee with how well they've played this month to put them in a position to be a division winner. This is good learning experience for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I'll say that, and being able to get posting experience, which you have a chance for next year to grow, kind of what the Mariners were supposed to do this year after last season. But experience does matter. Being the hot team matters, and being the better team still does matter, and that's Milwaukee right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of. Uh-oh, there we go. We're good?
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, StreamYard. Appreciate it. ERA, number 1. WHIP, number 2 in the MLB. This Milwaukee team is deep in pitching. They've come together, which is really nice to see since the beginning of the season. And the offense, they like to go on these weird spurts where they'll score you, 12 runs in 1 inning. They won't touch it at all. It's that the thing that Arizona has to avoid is those 1-run big innings. Don't let them start putting stuff together in 1 inning, because it might end up costing you the game. So I'm a little worried about. I'm still worried about the relief pitching side of things for Milwaukee. They haven't been the sharpest the last 10 games, but I think they can still overcome if they can get those big run innings. If the starters can go 6-7 innings, reduce that amount of time the bullpen has the chance to add it. So I'm with you.
Even as shaky as Milwaukee's bullpen's been recently, Arizona's has been just as shaky for majority of the season. So again, the pitching advantage is there for Milwaukee. I think the offensive advantage is still there too. And again, I'm not high on the offense of Milwaukee compared to the other contenders, but in this series, the advantage is still in Milwaukee over Arizona. If Arizona, this is where I would be concerned for you, Tanner, for the Brewers would be Corbin Carroll sprays the ball around the field, and guys are actually producing behind him, which there's times they disappear a little bit where it's mostly Carroll doing a lot of the work, Perdomo doing a good bit as well. But if Christian Walker, Gurriel Jr., if those guys are actually doing their part and it's spraying, not trying to outslug Milwaukee, but if they're spraying the ball around the field and you get a couple home runs here and there, that's where I would be concerned for Milwaukee. Is you got to slow down the middle of the order. Carroll's going to get his.
He's going to have to let it happen.
It's like like a receiver in the NFL. You have the number 1 receiver. Hey, he's going to get his. We got to make sure we shut everybody else down and let the offense be inefficient. Carroll's a damn good hitter. He'll be rookie of the year. He's going to get his hits. You've got to make sure you don't let the guys behind him drive him in. And that's where the factor is. If Gurriel and Walker, Perdomo, and Marte, they catch fire, now I'm going to be nervous if I'm a Milwaukee fan.
No, that's fair enough. Scott, what do you got for this series, man?
I agree with Jonathan. You're a heavy underdog in this series that probably could be the heaviest underdog in the baseball play. You need to throw your best in game 1 and game 2, which is Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. I don't know why they decided on Fott to go up against Milwaukee. Milwaukee has the postseason experience up and down the roster. I think Arizona's a year sooner than I think next year is the year that you really got to watch the Diamondbacks in the National League. So I favor Milwaukee in this series. I think Milwaukee gets off to a really good start in game 1, and I think they carry the momentum and close out the series in 2 games. So.
You think Counsell has any pressure? I know he's long tenure in Milwaukee. Up and down postseason success, not really a lot. But now you're facing your former franchise that you won a World Series with. You don't want to let the Arizona Diamondbacks, that your former team, beat you, right, to advance to a postseason. I feel like there's just tons of different, maybe possible emotions within that. Obviously, I know Craig being Craig, he's going to take it one stride at a time. Probably good, but it's fun to kind of hype up about it, of just the different situations that's actually there.
Yeah, the emotions are going to be there for sure because you got, as you said, it's your former franchise you won a World Series with. But at this point, though, he's been with the Brewers for a long time, and I think, and honestly, and nothing against Counsell. We know Craig to be the manager of the Brewers, and we don't really remember him as much as a player being with the Dodgers. It was such a long time ago. He's been with the Brewers for so long. We symbolize his career as now with the Brewers as a manager more so than the player himself. So, but again, not minimizing what he done in his career. He was a good ball player, and like I said, a World Series champion. But that's the emotions he's going to be feeling. But that's the storyline you'll have for Counsell, but not so much anywhere else in between these two teams.
Yeah, it's just kind of a fun story, like just the way it all happened. So pretty cool one. That Milwaukee game, if I can get my mouse going here, that starts at 7:08 Eastern in that one. So that'll be a good one there. And final match. Finalize our first night of wild cards is the Miami Marlins coming into play. Who would have thought they squeezed their way in? Thank you, Braves and the Brewers there to finish out Nick's Cubbies. Just got to take one more shot in. Just one more shot.
Yeah, and that's I'm very as much as I'm disappointed Nick's not here. That's another reason why I wanted to see Nick, because I said my Braves, as bad as it was my Saints losing to the Packers, I said my Braves will have my back.
They did.
Damn sure they had my back when it mattered most.
I mean, no fault to the Cubs, I'm sure. No drop balls or anything else like that. So blown leads. Let's be real. There's never happened in Chicago. You have Miami and Philly. They're 5-5 even again. I love this. All these series are really, really close. They're all even. So it just makes that to be it's going to be a really fun wild card series. Luzardo's coming out 3-2. His last 5, 2.2 ERA, 5.1 innings pitched on him. And then Zach Wheeler going at it 3-2, 2.20 and 5.1 within that one too. So look, these are two fun teams that can at any moment strike offensively like no other. But I think this will probably be a nice little primetime matchup here to end the night on Tuesday. Jonathan, what we got here for this Miami-Philadelphia series?
Game one, I'll put it this way. For this series, game one could be a very big deciding factor for this series as a whole. If the Marlins can almost ambush Philadelphia and hit them early, I think you could see an upset throughout the series. Pitching is going to be the biggest factor for Miami. They can score. I mean, that's one thing about Miami is very athletic. They're fast. They have power in the lineup. Do they have as much as Philadelphia? No, but we've seen throughout the regular season they can hit and score and runs in a bunch. It's a matter of, again, talking about the Brewers holding Corbin Carroll down. You got to do the same thing with the Marlins with Jazz Chisholm. You got to do the same thing with a couple of these guys that are in the top of the order. Luis Arias. We know Luis Arias is going to hit. He's going to get on base. He's a hitting machine, whether he was playing for the Twins or the Marlins this year. Which again, first player I think it was the first player in Major League Baseball history to win the batting title in consecutive years in 2 different leagues. In the American League 1 year, in the National League, I think he was the first ever to do that. He's going to hit. You cannot let guys like Jazz Chisholm, like Garrett Cooper, you cannot let those guys drive him in when he does get on base. That's where they kind of get things going a little bit in their offense. So, Zach, I think they have the right guy on the mound. The Phillies do, and Zach Wheeler, who in recent years has pitched better in the postseason than Aaron Nola has. So that is your number one guy to throw to control the Marlins lineup. But if the Marlins can score early and put pressure on that Phillies offense, I think they have a shot. But again, the only offense that can actually score with the Atlanta Braves, match up power for power, run for run, is that Philadelphia Phillies offense with Schwarber at leadoff, who he'll hit home runs when it matters, and he'll electrify that Phillies crowd. Yeah. Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, the emotional leader of this team, Alec Bohm. I mean, this lineup is deep. It's dangerous. If the Marlins can jump on them early, steal game one, I think you could see an upset in this series. But as much as my heart hopes that, because I don't want to see Philadelphia. I made that very clear with you guys. I made that clear on Tuesday. I do not want to see the Philadelphia Phillies in the NLDS. I'm not going to think with my heart here. I'm going to say the Philadelphia Phillies do win this series. I do think it go 3, though. I think Miami will steal a game. I think it will go 3, but I think Philadelphia will secure that advancement to the NLDS.
Where's these? So last year we got the upsets, right? Philadelphia being one, upsetting people going into the finals there or the World Series. Who's our teams to watch for on the upset side of things for this wild card?
I'll make you very happy. I think the Brewers over the Dodgers. I think, as I said, Brewers will beat the Diamondbacks. I think the Brewers, if the pitch, again, losing Woodruff hurts. Because that is your advantage over the Dodgers right now is your pitching staff. If we have Brewers and Dodgers in the NLDS, the Brewers pitching staff is better than the Dodgers currently right now. Now, losing Woodruff hurts that a little bit, but you do have a deeper pitching staff and a better bullpen. Not by much. I mean, the Dodgers bullpen is still really good, but the starting rotation is where you have the advantage against them. I think that could be an upset you could see is Brewers beating the Dodgers. Obviously, Phillies beating the Braves. I think that's very likely could happen. We saw it last year. Are the Braves better this year? Yes, but it's a division rivalry. 2 cities that absolutely hate each other, 2 teams that absolutely hate each other. Anything can happen. We saw that. So that's one that you could see. In the American League, I think
anybody, Blue Jays, if the Blue Jays beat the Twins, I think they could upset the Stros because the Stros are shaky so far.
I mean, this is very wide open postseason, and again, we talk about the Braves are the favorites. But as I said, if we have Braves and Phillies in the NLDS, we already saw the story happen once. I hope it doesn't happen again. I hope we don't have a sequel to the story. But it's very wide open, especially in the American League. I don't think you have a clear-cut favorite. Like in the American, I know Houston is the Vegas favorite right now for the American League, but as you said, I agree. Toronto could be the team that can outscore them, and be able to at least go pitch for pitch, but hit for hit mostly. Texas, I don't think they have the pitching. I don't think Tampa can match. And as much as we've seen Tampa and Baltimore go, I think Baltimore would beat Tampa in 5 games.
Yeah,
I think Texas matches up better offensively against Baltimore than Tampa does. Even though, again, I'm contradicting myself saying that Tampa would beat Texas, but the matchup of Baltimore, I think it does favor Texas more than Tampa. So, it's very open, and that's as a baseball fan very exciting because anything can happen this postseason. We don't have that besides the Braves, but again, that matchup in the NLDS scares the crap out of me. There is no clear-cut favorite to say it's an easy road to the World Series. So if Braves beat the Phillies, then the Braves have the easy road because I don't think the Dodgers can match up with them. I don't think the Brewers can match up with them in the NLCS. But that first series against the Phillies will be the clear-cut sign for that one. In the American League, flip a coin. It's very wide open in the American League.
It's not a lie. It's Orioles, Astros. Astros is shaky. They almost lost the division title to begin with. Then they finally pulled it out. Orioles, who've been monstrous since the All-Star break, the most consistent within the AL. And I mean, even the Rays, I think at this point, now that they made it, they can start playing a little bit more situational ball. And I could get a lot of teams in trouble against them. So I don't know, man. We got a good round of playoffs to start. I am not disappointed in any of these matchups. Of course, you and myself are more favored to see the Cubs, not any of them. I'm going to repeat this: the Cubs, not any of them. Go ahead and talk shit about my Royals, Nick. I ain't worried about you. So,
it's always also good when none of the New York teams are in it.
Yes,
it's always. Yes. I enjoy that, and I think it was. I shared something with Scott and Alan. I think this is the first time. Let me see. I have it right here, actually. First time in 30 years we do not have the Yankees, Red Sox, and Cardinals in the same postseason.
Wow. What?
First time. So we don't have either one of those teams, none of those teams in a playoff series for the first time in 30 years. That's
wow.
You got to tip your hat to those franchises for being the consistency that they are. But we're seeing kind of a historical moment right now in baseball. Baseball to not have those teams in it.
That's consistency by itself. That's even better than losing for 30 years and not being in a playoff appearance. And I experienced that a lot. So, Jonathan, I know you got your show tomorrow. Let's talk Major League with Alan and Scott. Who else is on there? I feel like there's one other.
No, it's just us three.
Okay, because Dan used to be on there, Dan Kirby, but yeah, he stopped. He had to stop. So, hey man, I'm excited. You guys got a lot of ball. You'll get the Rangers game on just about that time.
Well, yeah, we'll see Alan sweating a little bit during that time because I think first, I guess that's at 2:00 Central. So
yeah,
it'll be an hour into it. We'll kind of have the feeling of what Alan's going through anxiety-wise at that point by the time we get on the show at 3:00. So it'll be interesting to see where he is during that game.
Oh man, that's gonna be a fun one to tune in. You should give him some false hopes, like just start standing up like you saw a home run. Nothing happens. So just have a little fun with him, It's all right. Alan enjoys it.
Give a little Chip Carey in it where you kind of just every fly ball's a home run type of thing, and then it's caught.
Just like you're at the ball stadium, the ball field, and all you do is say a fly ball, and the whole crowd is like, oh.
That drives me nuts. That really does.
Every time.
We see that. I see that all the time. Even with coaching, I see that where fly ball, and everybody's like, "Oh," I'm like, "No, it's not." They're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "It's caught." I'm like, "See, I told you."
My favorite was we were playing the tournament last week, and I was just sitting on the bench. I was on the scorebook, just trying to figure out who I wanted to go in next, and a ball got hit in the air. It was a high tower, but man, that dad's like, "Oh my, I think that's out." And I'm like, no, dude, this is we're not there yet. This isn't that kind of league.
Oh, yes. The best ones for me, like you can know my reaction especially when I'm coaching. You know my reaction when we have one of our girls hit a home run. Yeah. I don't react now unless it's a girl's first home run or whatnot. But one of my power hitters, my 18U team, she hits one almost every 2 tournaments or whatnot. She hits one. I just don't react. Just watch it go. Bye ball. That's it.
See you later.
I already knew. I knew from the beginning. So yeah, you just gotta have that feeling. It's always funny. So maybe I might do something where that to Alan a little bit, kind of give it like
just have a little fun with it. Your team's not playing until next week essentially. So have a little fun with it.
Yeah, we're enjoying. Like I said, we're gonna enjoy some inter squad games and then kind of get ourselves ready for Saturday. So get to sit back. When you're the best team in baseball, you get to enjoy that moment.
Hey, I'm excited to talk the next round with you next Monday, man. I appreciate you coming on. As always, Jonathan, always appreciate you every Monday. So
I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Hey, we'll catch you later, dude. Appreciate you.
Sounds good.
Jonathan Grishman, everybody, as always, what a rock. Hey, all my friends left me. I don't know what happened. Don't ask me. 2 didn't show. One was falling asleep. Granted, he's a dad. I don't blame him. And then I don't know where the other one went. Hey, but it's just me here. Let's Talk Sports Show, guys. So, hey, tons of great stuff coming up still, guys, this week here. Make sure you guys check out, let's see, the Aqua Orange show was right before this. Johnny Cruz talking Miami Dolphins news, of course, after that loss against the Bills. So that's pretty something to tune in for. We'll be back Wednesday as well. There is a Monday post game going on currently too. But I'll be back Wednesday with the Let's Talk Bets with Matt Larison and Scott Cobe. I'll be going over a recap of our slate last week. Thank the Lord Seattle won because it finally gave me a win. It's been a rough betting weekend there, but we'll bounce back here. So check me out Wednesday. Let's Talk Sports or Let's Talk Bets at 5:30 Eastern. Sports Buffoons channel Wednesday night, sometime between 8 and midnight Central. We'll be on there, and then back here Thursday for our Thursday pick'ems. So everybody, please have a fabulous time with the wild card. Enjoy some baseball, some playoff baseball. It's gonna be a fun one. We'll catch you guys later. See you.
One life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts.
Could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. black sheep, move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me.